All right, let's get this thing going. It's let's call it 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk on this Friday, May 24th. It's a getaway Friday for a big 3-day weekend, so a lot of people are going to be in their cars, heading out of town, trying to get down to someplace fun for the Memorial Day weekend. We will try to give you news and information that you can use, and I'm going to bring you up to date on my good friend Donald Trump, and I guess I am. I've got to be a good friend of Donald Trump.
Really?
I get 10 emails from him a day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you don't just send 10 emails unless you're pretty close, I would guess.
Must be, yeah.
Yeah, and I've just read here that I could be among the first person to know about who his vice presidential pick is.
Wow.
I know. He says all I got to do is activate my VIP status before midnight. I'll know before the fake news. I'll know before the treacherous D.C. swamp.
All you got to do is click that button.
I just got to click that button, but I'm afraid to click that button. I go from
grab that credit card.
It goes from having 10 emails a day to 20. That's what'll happen. Anyway, I don't know. No, listen. They have a very aggressive fundraising thing, and if you get on their email list, you know what I'm talking about. You get a lot of emails from Donald Trump, and it seems to be personal. I mean, it's like I think he must sit down and write these things.
I'm sure he writes them.
Stay very busy writing these emails.
I'm sure,
because I'm getting a lot of them, and it must take a lot of his time. Let's take a look at some things though with regard to where we are in election 2024. We'll go ahead and call it a 2024 update. I mean, I've got so much that I'm going to have to break this into 2 different segments, and really good stuff. Number one, he had that rally in the Bronx, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that in just a minute. But I think you got all these major news organizations, and the news organization that broke the most news out of that session in the Bronx was News 12 of New York. It's sort of a cable news operation, I think, as I understand it. And they did an interview with Trump on the sidelines of that Bronx rally, and we learned a couple of things that I think are pretty interesting. One is he's not at all upset with Nikki Haley. You might think that he would be, but apparently Nikki Haley is now back in his good graces. Listen to this.
A big night last night. Nikki Haley making her first public remarks since dropping out of the race. She said that Joe Biden has been a catastrophe, and she said she's voting for you. I'm sure those were welcome remarks for you, but it also left a lot of people wondering, is there room for her on your team, or better yet, your ticket?
Well, I think she's going to be on our team because we have a lot of the same ideas, the same thoughts. I appreciated what she said. We had a nasty campaign. It was pretty nasty, but she's a very capable person, and I'm sure she's going to be on our team. In some form, absolutely.
In some form, absolutely. Well, I was a bit surprised by that. But, I mean, I think, you have to sort of make up after the primary process. He seems to be having done that with Ron DeSantis. And now that Nikki Haley has come out and said that she's going to vote for Donald Trump, now he's ready to put that behind him. And it's to his advantage to do that, quite frankly. Because, there are a lot of people who voted for Nikki Haley, and you don't want to alienate those people. You want to bring them into the fold. And so hopefully that now is taking place. I think a lot of the people, though, honestly, I've come to believe this over time, a lot of the people who were voting for Nikki Haley some of them were voting for Nikki Haley, but some of them were Democrats who just wanted to mess with the Republicans a bit by crossing over. I think that's true. They won't be there. They're going to be voting for Biden. In the coming election in November. So how many of those people were truly Republicans that are now saying that they're going to vote, they have the choice of voting for Donald Trump or, doing something else? I think most of them will vote for Donald Trump. So there's that. And then, again, the same reporter said, let's make a little news here. Tell me who's going to be on your vice presidential. I mean, I think she did a great job with this interview. Who's going to be your vice president? Give me your top 3 choices.
Let's make some news tonight, you and I, for your hometown TV station. Share with me your top 3 candidates for your running mate at this point.
Well, we have so many. I don't want to do that, but we have so many. You could take people like Ben Carson. You could take people like Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance. I mean, there are so many. Elisa's doing a fantastic job. But I could go on for quite a long time. We have many people that would do a really fantastic job.
Do you have a timeline on when you'll make the
I
decision?
think sometime during the convention.
And that's news in itself, that he'll make it during the convention, not before the convention. So, I mean, there were some good nuggets of news. The names he mentioned were Vance of Ohio, Marco Rubio of Florida, and, of course, Dr. Ben Carson. I mean, those are the ones he mentioned by name. But I think he just threw those out. I don't think he is. I think he likes to get the sort of the people's curiosity up about what he's going to do. He's playing that to the nth degree. It's like an episode of The Apprentice is what it is. But anyway, a great job by that reporter and trying to get a little nugget of news that nobody else was able to get. So there you go. And then let me talk about this. Is there going to be a swap on the other side of the ticket? I mean, these numbers are not looking good. We got a general election number out of Emerson today, said that in the general election, if it were held today, if it was just between Trump and Biden, of course it won't be, but I mean, if it were, then Trump would lead by 2 points. If it's a five-way race, which is, I think, much more likely, Trump wins by 5. That's got to be a troubling number for Democrats. And Democrats are now looking at the battleground states where Donald Trump has a consistent lead in most of the polls there, 6 out of 7, sometimes 7 out of 7, depending on which poll you look at. He's doing very well there, and now these numbers seem to be, headed Donald Trump's way. There is a trend line here, and the trend line is toward Trump and away from Biden. So what are Democrats going to do? Doug Schoen, I know him well. I sat on the set with him many, many times when I worked at Fox News. He's a good guy. He's a Democrat pollster, but he will always tell you the truth. He'll tell you exactly how the cow ate the cabbage. He'll just tell you what the numbers are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is what he said about the possibility of a swap. He said he's not sure it's going to happen, but it certainly seems like it's possible.
Well, I think he is most likely the nominee. The national polls are within a point or two now, and even though the swing states are showing really a clear Trump lead, Biden is within the hunt. But there's a but, Kayleigh, and the but is a disastrous debate, as you suggest, which, given what we saw today, could well happen. And more bad polls and more bad performances could lead what happened to Richard Nixon in the summer of 1974 to happen to Joe Biden. It's a long shot, but the party elders could come to him and say, Mr. President, it's time to consider stepping aside. Again, most likely Joe Biden will be the nominee and will run the campaign, notwithstanding his challenges. But it's within the realm of possibility. I don't rule it out.
Yeah, I think that's why that debate is going to be so early. The one that's happening, June 20th, something like that? Well, I've got the date right here. June 20th. I'm sorry. June 27th is when it's going to be. June 27th, that's early. It's fairly early in the process for a debate. But if he craters in that debate, then, I think Democrats will have time to take some action. And I think really that's going to be the make or break event for Joe Biden. Expectations are going to be very low. But, I mean, look at what's happened lately. I mean, he goes out and he gives a speech to the NAACP, which, by the way, is on the teleprompter. It's a pretty easy lift. You read the words that are literally right in front of you on a sort of a mirrored surface, and you read what it says word for word, and you say, thank you very much, God bless America, and you walk off the stage. It's all you had to do. Very simple for somebody who's been doing it most of his life. And they had to issue 9 corrections to a speech that was on the teleprompter. It goes into a debate situation, and I'm sure he'll be jacked up like he was at the State of the Union. They'll give him that cocktail of, I don't know, I think they give him a B12 shot. I think they give him a couple of pills of Adderall or something like that. And I think that they give him, some nice Prevagen to make sure that his memory is working at its best. And then, I don't know what else they do, but whatever the cocktail is, they'll have him jacked up. But still, when you make that many mistakes, it's got to be pointed out. And I think this coming first debate is sort of where the rubber meets the road for Joe Biden. If he's going to be the nominee, he's got to make a performance there. But I mean, did you see him yesterday with the Kenyan president? It was, I mean, so low energy, barely able to move through it. Looked like he was half asleep. He was mumbling and stumbling through all of the events in every way. So there we go. All right. By the way, getting back to the vice presidential election, the folks at I&I, a tip poll, they did a survey asking people, who do you think would be should be the Republican vice presidential running mate? And it really, when I look at this poll, it says to me, this is name ID. This is all this is. Ron DeSantis, 15%. Nikki Haley, 8%. Vivek Ramaswamy, 7%. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, 7%. Ben Carson, 5%. Former Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard, 5%. Tim Scott of South Carolina, 4%. Former Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee, 3%. And TV commentator Tucker Carlson, 3%. I don't think that's going to happen. But one way or the other, that's what the poll showed. Now, those, you could almost just say, that's a name ID poll. Who has the best name ID? I think DeSantis, the governor of Florida, probably has a pretty high. And then Nikki Haley, of course, number 2, because she was running and just made her announcement that she was going to vote for Trump. I don't know if I put too much into that poll, but I just thought you'd be interested in hearing it. Everybody says to me, are we gonna win, or how are we gonna win? We got to do a better thing in the ground game, and the first part of the ground game is getting people registered. I've got a very lengthy piece, about 11 pages from Epoch Times. Republicans are winning the voter registration battle in battleground states. Republicans are closing the gap on voter registration in key swing states. Political observers say it could be a sign the party will perform better in November. The gap between registered voters in the Democrat Party and Republican Party shrank significantly in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and North Carolina, according to voter registration statistics collected in April. Taking the combined voter totals in the 3 states, Republicans have eroded the Democrat registration advantage by more than 54% between 2019 and 2024. In Arizona, a 4th critical state, Republicans extended their lead in registered voters by more than 71% during the same period of time. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a great deal of numbers. They just sort of wash over you when you're listening to them anyway. But I will say this, the Democrats still have the advantage, but their numbers in many of these states are shrinking, and I think that's because people are choosing not to be Democrats anymore and are registering as Republicans. And I think also we're making sure that people who have not voted before are now being put into the system. But I mean, these margins between the two are really narrowing. It's all part of and you still got some time, so it could get better between now and November. Here's an example. By the end of April, almost 3.9 Pennsylvanians were registered as Democrats. Now, nearly 3.5 million are registered as Republicans. I mean, that's closing the gap in a big way. And remember, not everybody who's registered will vote. And we have the voter enthusiasm on our side, so that makes me feel pretty good about that. There you go. Pretty interesting news there, new development. Voter rolls, keeping them honest, are the most important thing that you can do. And what we're finding as we go through some of these states is that there are a lot of non-citizens on the state voter rolls who should not be able to vote in a presidential election. Hundreds of non-citizens have been found on state voter rolls across the country, and 3 states and Washington, D.C. allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. Yet Democrats consistently rely on the smear of denialism if you say anything about it. On Thursday, the House of Representatives passed a bill repealing a 2022 Washington, D.C. law that allows non-citizens to vote in local elections. Final vote was 262 to 143, and there were 52 out of 213 Democrats who joined Republicans supporting that bill, 18 who did not vote. So it was bipartisan. The Committee on House Administration also passed a bill that requires proof of citizenship to register to vote in a federal election. That's probably not going to go anywhere, but I mean, it shows you where people are. But they are finding, a number, that you just do what they call an audit. You take a certain number. You can't do them all because it's just too much time invested. But if you take a bunch and then you go through, let's say, 10,000 names, and then you find, well, how many of those 10,000 people can we identify as being non-citizens? It's just a sort of thing. You got to just do some comparison of different lists, and you can get that answer pretty quickly. And then what you find out is, well, you know what? We've got a percentage here. Out of 10,000, maybe it's 300. Well, then you extrapolate that number out and get an estimate. It could be a significant number of people. And we got to make sure that those folks don't vote. Also, people that move, you got to get them off if they go to another place, you got to get them off the voter registration so they can't vote in two places. That happens a lot. A lot. It happens. Believe me. And so I think I'm really glad to see us doing these two things. Number one, making sure that we identify people who are non-citizens who should not vote and get them off the federal rolls. And then the other thing is we're doing everything we can to make sure people are registered to vote, and then trying to clean up these voter rolls. Good stuff. It's part of the ground game, and we're doing pretty well in that regard. So much more that we need to talk about with regard to the election 2024, but we'll pick it up at the bottom of the hour, 22 minutes past the hour now. This is grilling season. If you're a fan of Legend Steakhouse like I am, you can enjoy some of those same flavors right at home, right on your very own grill. Just take a walk down your local grocery store aisles to places like Walmart and Kroger and look for Johnny Fleeman's very own brands. Now, his marinade proprietary blend will give your steaks, chicken, or chops a flavor that will hit a home run with family and friends. It's low in sodium, about a third of other brands. You don't have to worry about over-marinating. And you don't want to miss out on his honey mustard salad dressing. Use it as a salad dressing or a dipping sauce for your favorite chicken fingers, fresh-cut veggies, or chips, a recipe used in his restaurant for over 35 years. And if your favorite grocer isn't stocking Johnny Fleeman products, why don't you ask them to do so? For more information, just go to johnnyfleeman.com. That's johnnyfleeman.com. And it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. For those times when you want someone else to do all the cooking, they'll always be glad to see you at your nearest Legend Steakhouse for lunch or for dinner.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine saying today that he's called a special session trying to ensure that President Joe Biden is on the state's ballot. We've got crime in Tennessee and a standoff between police and a suspect on 91 freeway in Anaheim, California. We'll update you on that. 3:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, looky there on this Friday. That's Mac Morey with all your stories. Also the star of the Runaway Hit segment at 5:25. Mac Morey's wild, wacky, weird wonderful world of sports. I forgot.
Hey, there it is.
I got
it's a mouthful.
You got it.
Yeah, I got to write that down. I got to put a little card here with it all typed out so that I can just read it.
A lot of W's.
It's a lot of W's, and it's good. It's always, we get a little shot of sports for a few minutes during our 4-hour program. And Chris Webber, of course, is in the control room, pushing all the blinky buttons, keeping things under control, including me, which, of course, is a full-time job. But he's doing a great job, as always. Guys, the question is always asked, when will these cicadas go away?
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'll say at least the rain the last few days has kind of helped a little bit.
It's sort of quietened them down a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah. Tired of the cicadas yet? Asked the Tennessean. Well, don't worry. They'll be going away soon. Well, one is soon. It looks like mid-June. So this is the 24th. We got another week of May, and then so we're talking 3 more weeks. That's not soon.
Not soon enough.
3-4 weeks at least.
Yeah. My car is not very happy.
Yeah, I know.
All the guts and gross all over it.
They are about 5 weeks above ground. Some species only live for 3 to 4 weeks, but you should count on about 5 weeks. And some of them think they came a little early. I think they came a little earlier than expected. So anyway, there are 17 states hosting this year's cicada broods.
Hosting.
They're broods. Yeah, hosting.
That's almost like we invited them. I don't remember inviting them.
The 13-year-old brood, which is in Tennessee, is located mainly in the Southeast, and the 17-year-old brood is in the Midwest. So we're the 13-year variety, it seems like. Anyway, one way or the other, they're still out there, still flying around. But I mean, you're right. When it rains or when it gets cool in the evening, they quieten right up.
Yeah,
which is okay with me. I'm telling you, I've lost all excitement about the cicadas arriving. Oh, look, the cicadas are here. Yeah, that was fun for about an hour.
Yeah. Now it's like,
look. Now I wish they would please go away. Oh, by the way, baby birds. I've got 3 baby birds, 3 baby cardinals. I still have an egg that hasn't hatched yet. I don't know if that one's going to hatch or not.
Might be a dud.
Might be a dud. That's right. But the mama cardinal is doing great. Good. Right outside the window. It's great. She's not afraid. She doesn't fly off when I come to the window and look.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Which is great. She doesn't seem to be worried about me, and I can watch the little babies. It's great stuff. A lot of people right now, within the sound of my voice, are in their car headed out. Mm-hmm. We're expecting about, what is it I've got here? 44 million Americans traveling either by air or by roadway. So y'all be careful out there and arrive alive, as they say.
Yeah.
31 past the hour now. Time for the news.
Hey, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Currently 78 degrees right now. Light rain in Nashville, monitoring the possibility for storms later on in the mid-state. Full weather forecast. First traffic report, or we got a traffic report coming up in 5 minutes. Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican, said yesterday that he's calling a special session of the General Assembly next week to pass legislation ensuring that President Joe Biden is on the state's 2024 ballot. Brittany Shepard.
The session is called for next Tuesday and would allow state lawmakers to work around a scheduling issue that currently keeps Biden off the ballot. As it stands, the Democrats' nominating convention is set to start August 19th. But Ohio state law needs presidential candidates to be certified weeks prior by August 7th. The General Assembly is also expected to pass a bill that would prohibit campaign spending by foreign nationals, an issue championed by Republicans.
In Tennessee, got a crime story. Laverne police executed a search warrant at an apartment and seized over 1,300 fentanyl pills in one arrest. Nearly $13,000 along with other drug paraphernalia and firearms also seized in the process. Andre Petway Jr. now in custody. The investigation remains active. And a standoff between police and a suspect has ended on the 91 freeway in Anaheim, California. The scene still has the busy artery closed on this busy Memorial Day weekend of travel. Alex Stone in Southern California with details on how it ended.
Traffic is backed up for miles. Police have it shut down, but the standoff is now over. A man believed to have been armed was inside of a small blue car that police had blocked in with armored vehicles. They had tried to pull him over earlier in a stalking case. It came to an end with police dragging him out of the car. Medics moved in. He was not moving.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests and a lot of babies.
38 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on the drive. I mentioned to you that we had so much 2024 news that I was going to do 2 rounds in the first hour just to get it all covered. I want to now focus on the big rally that Trump had in the Bronx last night. A good turnout there. I don't know how many people, but I mean, I saw the aerial shots, and it was a very good turnout for one of the bluest states, one of the bluest cities and areas of the country. He had a very solid turnout, and it's really getting to people like AOC, who represents that district in Congress. It's really getting to the governor of the state of New York, who took to name calling. I mean, remember how Hillary once described people who supported Trump as a basket full of deplorables? Well, Kathy Hochul says they're all a bunch of clowns.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader of and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx.
What? That's not nice. And she goes on here, but I mean, why would you do that?
And invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president. We know him better than anyone, and that means we understand what he's all about is just for himself. So this state will go solidly behind Joe Biden for president, as it has in the past. So he wants to spend his time doing these made-up fake rallies and pretending they're supporting him. Be my guest, because while you're doing that, Donald Trump, Joe Biden's out there on the other side making sure he's delivering for all Americans. And so go ahead, spend all your time you want in New York, because we'll be with Joe Biden, and Joe Biden's out there winning over the rest of the battleground states.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, have you seen the polls, Kathy? I don't think you've seen the polls. But you know what? It turns out it's not a bunch of clowns. These are sincere people who really are from the Bronx and very supportive of Donald Trump. NBC went out there. I think they went out there, trying to find, let's find out what's really going on here. Let's talk to these people. And what they found were a lot of people who are from the Bronx, indeed, who like Donald Trump and are very disappointed in Democrat policies right now.
It's too much crime. Everything is going downhill. The economy is going bad. The food is expensive. It's like affordable housing is not for everybody. It's just horrible.
I want food to go cheaper. The gas, I want gas cheaper. When I came and he was the president, the gas was a lot cheaper than it is right now.
Now we're becoming the Bronx second-class citizens. We have this influx of migrants are coming in, and they're getting everything. And everyone in the Bronx, in the city of New York, is forgotten.
Here's more from NBC reporter Dasha Burns.
I did talk to folks in that crowd who themselves were immigrants. A lot of folks from the Dominican Republic. A lot of people that I talked to were born and raised in the Bronx. For some of them, this was their first ever Trump event. And when you talk to immigrants that are going to these Trump rallies, they agree with his message on immigration. Their point is, look, I did it the right way. I came here legally. And especially those living in New York right now, the sentiment I heard from a lot of voters was, was, we have these immigrants right now that the city is taking care of in a way that I've never felt taken care of by this city. It was a large crowd and a diverse crowd. Yes, there were some people from Westchester, from New Jersey, but there were a lot of people there that were from the Bronx, Black and Latino voters that are sick of how much they're paying for gas and groceries, that are frustrated with the situation at the border, and that find President Biden's rhetoric when it comes to minority voters a little bit offensive. Take a listen.
Well, before we listen, I got to tell you, the reporter was telling the anchor's just like sitting there with her mouth open. She cannot believe that this is a real deal, that people are actually showing up from the Bronx to support Donald Trump in a very, very blue area. And then, so here's some more from the sound.
Legal troubles. Does any of that worry you at all?
No, at all. I think he's going to be elected the president because everyone still wants him as the president. So to me, it doesn't matter.
Biden, they have disrespected the people of the city of New York. This was the best city in the world. We're not the great apple anymore. We're not the big apple. We are the rotten apple.
Biden went on the Charlemagne the God show and said, "You ain't black if you don't vote for him." I'm black because that's how I was born and what I am. And Trump is the man that can save this country. Period.
So interesting to talk to those voters, Anna, and multiple people actually mentioned that Charlemagne the God interview. I did press back with some of those folks, mentioning some of Trump's rhetoric that's been seen as racist and bigoted. They said they don't have a problem with that. They view his actions over his words in terms of what they feel he can do for their community. Again, the economy, those pocketbook issues, over and over again, top of the list.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty fair report, it would seem to me, from an NBC reporter who actually went out and talked to people, and the anchors are just shaking their heads in absolute, they just can't believe it. They're in complete disbelief. Fox went out, same group, found again a lot of people from the Bronx who like what Donald Trump stands for.
I've been Democrat all my life, and Donald Trump, he just has the right answers. He's speaking on illegal immigration, all the money pouring out of the country, people losing their jobs, the economy is failing. And at 60 years old, I realize now that we have to support Donald Trump and make things better.
At 60 years old. Here's more.
Where are you from? The Bronx, actually.
I'm originally from the Bronx and from New York.
I'm from the Bronx.
Right here in the Bronx, New York. This is home, right here.
AOC says if you're not a Democrat, you don't belong here in the Bronx. Right. What do you say?
I disagree with that.
I don't think she should be here in the Bronx. I actually don't know any Democrats living in the Bronx.
Look, AOC, look at the tremendous support for Mr. Donald J. Trump.
You need to tell her then she need to stay out the Bronx because look at all the people around. Everybody's here for Trump.
I am a Democrat, and I belong here.
And who are you voting for?
Donald J. Trump.
What has AOC done for the Bronx?
She's done nothing for the Bronx. Nothing. Nothing's changed. Nothing's gotten any better.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Let her come to the Bronx and let her come among us people that struggle. She doesn't even know what struggle is.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that was sort of a sample from people. So, Kathy Hochul can call them all a bunch of clowns if she wants to. But these are just hardworking New Yorkers and from the Bronx who want to go out there and support Donald Trump. Now, will Donald Trump win New York? I don't know. It's a heavy lift, but there's something going on out there that he's beginning to see, and his pollsters are beginning to see, and I'm beginning to see, that suggests that this is widening. And when you look at the New Hampshire poll, I mean, New Hampshire should be a slam dunk for Democrats. But when you look at the polls, it's within the margin of error. Trump is competing. He says he can go to places like New Jersey. He says he can go to places like Virginia. He says he can go to places like Minnesota and now maybe even New Hampshire and compete. Now, I think he's good for him to spend time in other locations in the battleground states, and I'm sure he will over time. But this one's sort of in his own backyard. It was pretty easy to put together for him. But what a turnout. And, if I look at this and I listen to the clowns, send in the clowns. There had to be clowns. No, I mean, send them in. These people are not clowns. They're just hardworking New Yorkers. And they should be offended by how their governor has described them. in this interview. All right. So other stuff, cleaning up all that I have to talk about with regard to the election. First of all, Ocasio-Cortez has a meltdown over this rally. The self-identified socialist said the quiet part out loud regarding the larger warfare waged against the former president by Democrats, saying that by having him stay in that trial in Manhattan, it's a legal version of the ankle bracelet. In other words, they are suggesting that the reason they did this trial was to keep him tied up and off the campaign trail, and it said it's sort of the legal version of like an ankle monitor, I guess you would call it. Well, anyway, she's not happy about them holding a big rally right in her own backyard. Here we go. Biden campaign memo. If somebody got a hold of a Biden campaign memo, which lays out the debate attack plan against Trump. In the months leading up to that first debate, the Biden-Harris campaign will zero in on Trump's dangerous campaign promises and unhinged rhetoric, they say. We will make sure that the voters who will decide this election are reminded of the chaos and the harm Trump caused as president and why they booted him out 4 years ago. The campaign is singling out 3 lines of attack against Trump, one from his efforts that led to the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. They will point to what they call the quote-unquote false allegations that the 2020 election was stolen, and his support for economic policies that benefit the billionaire class at the expense of the middle class. None of that stuff's going to resonate. I mean, if that's their plan, I'd say I'd go back to the drawing board and get another plan. So there you go. From a campaign memo, that's exactly how they are explaining to other Democrats what they will be doing. Knock yourself out there, babe. Sounds great. RNC, the Republican National Committee, has sent a letter to the head of the Secret Service on Thursday, yesterday, demanding that she take personal and immediate steps to fix an unacceptable flaw in the security plan. And what she's talking about is the proximity of a protest zone to Fifth Serve Forum side of the convention. In the letter, RNC counsel Rod Stegarata demanded that the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle take action to alleviate these risks. With less than 2 months before the convention, even less time before the U.S. Secret Service finalizes its plan, it's imperative you take personal and immediate steps to fix this unacceptable flaw in the design of the security perimeter. In the third letter sent by the RNC to the Secret Service, further, Politico reported that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell also sent a letter to Cheadle. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senator Rick Scott have also spoken to the agency, according to Politico and CNN. While frustration abounds from Republicans, a spokesperson for the Secret Service released a statement saying the security plan is sound and the Secret Service has no purview over the location of the protest zone. That's all, they say, the city of Milwaukee. Could have been in Nashville, you know. This all could be happening in Nashville, where we would make sure that, you know, the protest zone isn't where it's right up against the conventioners. Secret Service Chief of Communications Anthony Guglielmi, I believe that's the way he said the agency is confident the security plan is being developed and will continue to focus on working with our state, federal, and local partners to ensure a safe and secure event. If anyone is compromising security, it's the RNC. Publicly disclosing security information as done in this letter undermines our ability to maintain the integrity of our security plan. Give me a break. What the RNC is trying to make sure is that we don't have an out-of-control convention. And it's going to be crazy. I mean, just count on it. I mean, the protesters are going to be there in huge numbers. I think we've gotten a taste on some of these college campuses, same group of people. It's all, you know, it's not a grassroots movement. It's all AstroTurf, and it's all manipulated behind the scenes by Soros's people and others. And the same group of people who show up at every protest and many of them turn violent will be in Milwaukee. And they will be, I think a great number of them will be in and at the Democrat convention as well, which is later. Let's see, I've got that here as well. The GOP convention runs from July 15th through the 19th, and the Democrat convention goes through August 19th through the 23rd. It's going to be chaos. Man, I covered a lot of conventions, and I'm glad I'm not going to be at this one because, I mean, I don't really like being tear gassed. I've been through it. It's not a pleasant experience, and I'd just soon not do it again. 52 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk. Getting engaged this spring, guys, don't make her settle for one of those knockoff mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. What you need to do is get to Genesis Diamonds and get her a one-of-a-kind ring that she really wants from a world-class designer. Genesis Diamonds has the rings on every woman's wish list, truly handcrafted rings made in the USA, names like Tacori Viraggio, Henry Dowsey, and more. Other stores are not even allowed to sell these amazing brands, but you can get them at Genesis. They've got all the best brands. And because Genesis is a direct diamond importer, you get the best prices on diamonds, and you can choose between natural and lab-grown diamonds as well. So you get the total package at Genesis, a one-of-a-kind ring and a great diamond at an amazing value price. And remember, unlike other stores, at Genesis, there are no commissioned salespeople. The experts at Genesis are there to help you, to guide you, to inform you, to educate you. Zero pressure. Genesis is a family-owned business. They have an incredible reputation, known for doing business the right way with honesty and integrity. Genesis Diamonds, the only jeweler I recommend for quality, selection, and value. You just can't beat them. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
The International Court of Justice ruling that Israel must immediately halt their military operation in Rafah. A reward being offered for information in the murder of a private first-class officer here in Tennessee. Today, marking 2 years since that tragic school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Crime in Tennessee. And we've got some possible severe weather over the weekend. We'll tell you about it. Busy travel weekend, 4 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
All right, let's take a look at the markets real quick. Dow Jones Industrials closed up 4 points. The S&P up 36. The NASDAQ had a record day, I believe it is, based on those NVIDIA stocks, which are just through the roof, up 184 points. So all screens are green. This brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Learn more about all the things the good people at Beacon can do for you to help you get ready for your retirement by simply going to their website, askbeaconnow.com. 59 past the hour. And speaking of the aforementioned Beacon, a question. Are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? Might be hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans just like you could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You may be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. You know, with the threat of massive tax increases on the horizon, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies now. Defend your hard-earned retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 on retirement, don't wait any longer. Schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call this number, 615-488-9303, or go to their website, askbeaconnow.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
.401, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 78 degrees, got some light rain right now in Middle Tennessee. Possibilities for some storms tonight and over our holiday weekend. Traffic and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. The International Court of Justice has ruled that Israel must immediately halt its military operation in Rafah, the United Nations' highest court citing immediate risk to the Palestinian people. Britt Clinette reports from Tel Aviv. The ruling came as military operations were underway there.
The ICJ can make legally binding rulings in disputes between countries, but it has little way of enforcing its orders. Now, this is the first time the ICJ has actually issued a ruling that kind of compels Israel to significantly change its military operation in Gaza. Now, it is the highest UN body for hearing disputes between states. Its rulings are their final, but they've been ignored in the past.
Here in Tennessee, a $25,000 reward being offered for information in the murder of private first class Katia Duenas-Aguilar. Duenas-Aguilar was found dead at her home in Clarksville on Saturday. Clarksville officials and military police both investigating the case. Duenas-Aguilar was an information technology specialist who enlisted in the Army in 2010, according to Fort Campbell. And a Fort Campbell spokesperson said she's since been stationed at the Kentucky military base since 2019. And today marks 2 years since the tragic school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. This week, the families of the 19 students and 2 teachers killed at Robb Elementary School announced lawsuits against nearly 100 Texas Department of Public Safety officers and Uvalde School District. Maria Elena Salinas, the families are seeking accountability from law enforcement who were at the scene.
The families want gun laws to change. They have been very active. They become activists overnight. At the state level, they will continue to fight to raise the minimum age to purchase a semi-automatic weapon from 18 to 21. And at the federal level, they would like to see the war-type assault weapons banned altogether. And they have been traveling to Washington and to Austin, Texas to accomplish just that.
Crime in Tennessee. Laverne police executed a search warrant at an apartment and seized over 1,300 fentanyl pills in one arrest. Nearly $13,000 along with other drug paraphernalia and firearms also seized in that search. Andre Petway Jr. now in custody. The investigation does remain active. And Middle Tennessee and other parts of the nation will be under threat of severe weather through the entire weekend. But Stephanie Ramos says millions of travelers won't be deterred.
The Memorial Day rush is in full swing as travelers hit the roads for the unofficial start of summer. And with more than 38 million people expected to drive this holiday weekend, it is going to be busy. Now, if you're hitting the road, timing is key. According to INREX, you'll want to avoid today between noon and 7 p.m. Instead, aim for early mornings or late evening drives. Sunday and Monday afternoon are also expected to be busy, so plan accordingly.
And right now in Tennessee, Gas Buddy putting the average price per gallon at $3.28. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It's 8 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock, hour number 2 on this Friday, Getaway Friday. Everybody trying to get out of town for the Memorial Day weekend. Listen, I hope you'll take some time at some point to the Memorial Day weekend. Remember, to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice so you can go out and have a vacation. You can spend time with family. The freedoms that we have are not free, and that's what we do on Memorial Day. We remember them. But so today they say, look, if you have to leave about right now, you're in prime time. You're driving in prime time. They say if you can travel, during the next few days before 11 or after 8, you're going to be okay. So Friday, that's today. They say if you can wait until 8 p.m. and drive late. Right now it's prime time. Saturday, they say before 1 p.m. or after 6. Sunday, they say the best time to drive, if you're having to drive somewhere, is before 1 p.m. So a morning departure would be really good. And then on Monday, they say that the best time to drive will be after 7 p.m. The rest of the day is going to be a struggle. I mean, everybody, they trickles out of town at a different time, but they all come back on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the day where it can really get, so if you can wait late, what I do when I travel is I get up really early.
Yeah. That's a good option, too.
Like 3 o'clock in the morning, and before daylight, you're 3 hours down the road. If you're going to the beach or somewhere, that's a good way to get back. And, then you're by midday, you're going to be thinking some traffic, but you would have beat a lot of it by getting up so early. So, be careful. We want you to come back, safely and in one piece so that we continue to have you as one of our listeners. We love our listeners. We want them to do well. So be careful when you're driving. Drive to stay alive, as they say. They got all kinds of cute little sayings. Don't drown, turn around.
Yeah.
And drive to stay alive.
Buckle up, morons. No, that doesn't rhyme, though.
And that doesn't rhyme. No, I'm not calling anybody morons.
Well, if you're not wearing your seatbelt.
Well, yeah, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you are a moron. Yeah. That's right. Wear your seatbelt. I've gotten kind of lax about that when I'm driving around Watertown. I don't usually end up, if I'm just going downtown, I don't bother because it's like 4 blocks. By
the time you get it buckled up, you're unbuckling.
I'm unbuckling. So, but if I wait until I get out on the main highway, then I buckle up. That's probably not a good habit. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. The election is getting near, and I think the Democrats are panicking. And I think all the people who work in the Biden administration, all the little Green New Dealers, and the people who are really leftist activists are freaking out because they're looking at the numbers and they're going, we might not get a second term here. We better shove some stuff down the pipeline while we can. And so usually, if you're going to do things that are going to be controversial, you wait until your second term because, hey, what are they going to do? It's your second term. You can't run again. So the voters can't take it out on you. So you do a lot of stuff in your second term that you wouldn't normally do in your first. But I think they're realizing we may not get a second term. It's looking not so good right now. So they're shoving a lot of stuff into the pipeline, and you should be paying close attention. As he tries to secure his legacy, writes Newsmax, President Joe Biden has unleashed a flurry of election year rules on the environment and other topics, including a landmark regulation that would force coal-fired power plants to capture smokestack emissions or shut down. The limits on greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuel electric stations are the Democrat president's most ambitious effort yet to roll back planet-warming pollution from the power sector, the nation's second largest contributor to climate change, they say. The power plant rule is among more than 60 regulations Biden and his administration finalized last month to meet his policy goals, including a promise to cut carbon emissions that are driving, as they say, climate change roughly in half by 2030. The Biden administration is in green blitz mode, said Lena Moffitt, executive director of the activist group Evergreen Action. The barrage of rules covers more than the environment. With the clock ticking toward Election Day, Biden's administration has issued proposed rules on a wide range of issues, from student loan forgiveness to affordable housing to overtime pay, health and compensation for airline passengers. who are unreasonably delayed as he tries to woo voters in a re-election bid against presumptive Republican president nominee Donald Trump. In all, listen to this, federal agencies broke records by publishing 66 significant final rules in April, higher than any month in Biden's presidency, according to George Washington University's Regulatory Studies Center. More than half the rules, 34, were considered likely to have an economic impact of at least $200 million, the center said. Tally is by far the highest issued by a recent president in a single month. The next closest was 20 such rules issued by Trump in his final month of office. Wow. Biden's not shying away from promoting the rules. So they're going to be shoving a lot of stuff into the pipeline. And we're going to, and let me tell you something. When you say regulations, most regulations end up costing the business sector more money in some form. And when it costs them more money, guess what happens? They have to pass that on to you. So it means the cost of things that you want to buy are going up. Some of it's by inflation. Yeah, a good portion of it is, but some of it is because of regulations as well. When you start adding regulations or the burdensome regulations on the business world, they end up costing those businesses a lot of money, and they pass it on. It's not corporate greed, you understand, as the Biden administration will tell you. They're passing on the increase it costs them to do business. I'm so irritated. I heard today on one of those talk shows where the Democrat was saying, well, this is all about corporate greed, corporate greed, corporate greed. It's not about corporate greed. The corporations are just doing what they have to do to survive. When a corporation builds a product or makes a product or has a good or service, and the things that they need to carry out, to make that product or to carry out that service cost them more, well, they're not in the business to lose money. That's just, I'm sorry, that's not business. I mean, nobody in business can afford to lose. If you do that, you won't be in business very long. That's for sure. So, what they do is when their costs go up, they have to pass on the cost to you, the consumer. That's not greed. That's the reality of having to deal with inflation and higher regulations. So, enough of that stuff about corporate greed. What a bunch of nonsense that is. It's in a corporation's best interest to give you the product at the best price that they can give it to you, because that's how you retain market share. If you charge people a heck of a lot more than it costs you, then you're not going to be in business very long, because people will be somebody out there willing to do it cheaper, willing to, to pass on, give you a better deal on that product. Here's, again, another example of Biden's failed policies and what it really means in the real world. Biden's Border Patrol has lost a quarter of its agents since 2020. I mean, they used to say, you get a job in the federal government, you got a job for life, right? I mean, the one thing about them, they don't pay as much as the private sector does in some areas, but you got a job that's not going to go anywhere. But because they so disagree, so many of the Border Patrol agents so disagree with the policies that are being promulgated by the Biden administration, many Border Patrol folks have decided to cut and go do something else. Between fiscal year 2021 and 2023, 3,665 agents left the force, with an additional 616 departing in the first half of this fiscal year. This is showing a growing number of agents have left the CBP since Biden became office. Many have chalked up the phenomenon to the fact that under his administration, the crisis at the southern border has gotten to a point where the goals that drew people to become agents in the first place have become unachievable. Nobody wants to beat their head against a brick wall all day long. CBP is over 19,000 agents, and between October 20th and October 2020 and April 24, about 4,281 agents left the agency. That includes those who quit, were forced to retire, or retired early. According to CBP data cited by the outlet, between fiscal year 21 and 23, well, I told you that already. While the number of agents who voluntarily quit has remained somewhat steady over the past 10 years, the Biden administration has overseen a massive increase in those who choose to retire early. Since Biden was elected, an average of 529 agents have left of their own volition. That's more than double the average of preceding 7 years. Well, I don't blame them. I mean, can you imagine trying to go out there and do your job and be so frustrated that, what you really become now is not someone who patrols the border, not someone who looks out for the security of the nation, of the homeland, but somebody who processes paper and changes diapers. I mean, come on. I can understand why this is not what I signed up for. I'll go do something else. And by the way, law enforcement officers are in big demand right now. You can find work. The experience that you have will serve you well in other places where they really want to go out there and enforce the law. Because sadly, the Border Patrol is no longer enforcing the law. And then I want to get to this story just because I'm very concerned about this. This whole thing that happened at Quantico military base, where you had a situation where two Jordanian nationals who both came across the border illegally were trying to get into Quantico, the Marine base there, and it turned into a thing where they were told, no, you don't have the right credentials. Step over here or drive over there. We'll look at you a little bit more closely and see what we can work out. And then they tried to gun it and get through, and they were stopped and arrested. But that's all we know. Now, a lot of people said, well, maybe it was a dry run for something else. House Republicans are now demanding information on the immigrants who attempted to breach the Marine Corps base. A coalition of House Republicans led by House Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green, right here of Tennessee, penned a letter to the Biden administration on Thursday demanding information on migrants who attempted to breach a Marine base earlier this month. He sent the letter to the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas of DHS, the Department of Defense, Secretary Lloyd Austin, who, by the way, transferred power today to his deputy so he could go and have another surgery over the holiday weekend, learned his lesson from the last time. And FBI Director Christopher Wray got a letter, too, seeking information on the two Jordanian immigrants who were reportedly in the United States illegally. One of the migrants has said to be on the terrorist watch list, according to a press release from the House Homeland Security Committee. So we don't know what was going on there. And the Biden administration has clamped down hard. I mean, they're not letting anything get out on this because, of course, if it's what we think it is, it only proved what we had all said, that the chaos at the border would be taken advantage of by people who don't wish us well, including people who are on the terrorist watch list. 21 minutes now past the hour. Okay, let's talk about D.T. McCall. They've been around in Middle Tennessee for more than 100 years as a family-owned business, and they have a reputation for treating people right. That's what you want, right? You want to do a business with an honest group of people who are going to tell you how things are going to be. They're going to tell you what it costs, and then they stick with that price. Not going to play any games, not going to give you any runaround about extra charges for things like setup or delivery or haul away of the old thing. You want those things, but if you go to some of these other companies, they'll give you an amazing price up front, but then when they add on the other things, you find out it wasn't such a good price. 5 convenient locations here in Middle Tennessee. So if you need furniture, if you need appliances, you need a mower, man, I'm telling you, their Cub Cadet mowers are the best. I have one. In fact, I got a lot of stuff in my house from D.T. McCall. I got bedroom suites. I've got couches. I bought a lot of furniture there, and it's a great process, and they're very easy to work with, and they're very honest and upfront about what these things are going to cost, and the cost, I think I got good deals on all this stuff. So listen, if you're looking for something for your home, you owe it to yourself to take a look at their website or go to their 5 convenient locations and poke around. I think you'll be quite impressed. Learn more by going to the website dtmccalls.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Donald Trump's scheduled to speak at the Libertarian National Convention tomorrow night, and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke there this afternoon. We'll hear some audio from that, plus our Money News Report, 4:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Mac Maury with all your stories, and in the control room is our good friend Chris Weber, pushing all the buttons and keeping things under control. Guys, you got any big plans for the 3-day weekend? Anything special?
Stay off the road. That's my plan.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan, actually.
Yeah, me and my couch are going to be good friends. It'll be awesome.
Good. That's the right idea. Catch some rest. That's what you need. Well, I mean, we're going to be staying at home. Cabana wife and I are going to be, trying to catch up on some things around here. It's hard to get a lot of yard work done when it rains, so
like every day it seems.
Yeah, I know. So we're a little bit behind on some of that stuff. So I think we're going to try to catch up. I think there's some ribs that are going to be in my future.
Yeah.
Ribs this weekend. I love ribs. Home cooked ribs. Well, here's how much your Memorial Day barbecue will cost you this year. 52% of Americans said they will barbecue this weekend. Barbecue. The average cost of a Memorial Day barbecue this year is about $30. I think that's low, quite frankly. A 10% increase compared to last year. So, I mean, what are you going to have at your barbecue? You're going to have a meat. You got to have a protein.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be chicken or beef or steak or ribs or pork. So that's not cheap right there.
Nope.
And then, when you're somebody my size, you need an extra large helping. Or you'll have some leftovers. Then you got to have your potato salad, right? I think you got to have potato salad. Maybe some corn on the cob.
Yeah.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Coleslaw, maybe?
I'm not big on coleslaw, but a lot of people do like
Love coleslaw.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean.
What about a dessert? I need a sweet treat.
Well, I know. I'm trying to think. Well, I tell you, the perfect dessert would be home-cranked ice cream.
Ooh.
Does anybody do that anymore?
I've got a little machine at home. It's
nice.
kind of a modern twist on the old-fashioned one, And we didn't make any last year, and we need to break it out this year. It's got a little frozen container. You just keep it in the freezer,
yeah, I've seen those.
And then you put all the ingredients in there, and then it spins and spins and spins.
Do you remember, having to turn the crank on the old-fashioned homemade ice cream things?
I don't remember the crank. The ones that my grandmother had, it had a motor that sat on top of the little bucket.
When I was growing up back in the old days, back in the Civil War era, no, you had a thing, and it was a crank, and you cranked and you cranked and you cranked, and if you didn't keep cranking, it would freeze solid.
Yep. Yeah,
you get ice, and you put your salt in there, and boy, you just crank and crank and crank and crank. You think till you can't stand it, but you earned that ice cream is what you did.
That's true. And there's nothing better than that homemade ice cream.
Yeah, I might have to. Now that I wonder if you can still get one of those things. I bet you can.
You can get the kind that I got. I think I got it on Amazon. It's a smaller. Like the tub is only probably like maybe a gallon. Not quite. But it makes a good 3 or 4 servings of ice cream.
Well, some of the things that you're going to have are going to be going up. Let's see. Whether grilling at home or attending a celebration, 83% of Americans plan to purchase food. Well, of course you are. 44% said they plan to purchase adult beverages such as beer, wine, or canned cocktails.
Yeah, that's nice.
The price of ground beef burgers is up nearly 15% compared to a year ago. Hot dog prices didn't change that much, but hot dog buns are up about 1%. Hamburger buns up about 0.5%. Relish. This is outrageous. Relish is the leading condiment price hikes with nearly 50% increase in the cost of relish.
Who eats relish?
I don't relish having to pay more for my relish.
I'll pass on that.
I'm sorry. Mustard up by 3.16%. Ketchup up by 2%. So everything costs you more. That's what inflation's all about. Anyway, enjoy your meal, and get ready to pay at least a little bit more for all the food you're going to consume. But you knew that already, right?
Looks like I'll be eating beanie weenies.
Yeah, that's right. just give me some bread. Give me some white. Well, we have bread's expensive too. Yeah. 31 minutes now past the hour.
.431, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 77 degrees right now, and there's some possibility for some severe weather over your holiday weekend. We'll let you know about it. Full forecast, traffic report just ahead, 5 minutes. Some are calling it a split-screen showdown, but presumptive GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are actually courting the members of the Libertarian National Convention on different days this weekend. RFK Jr. made his pitch this afternoon, and Mr. Trump, who will do it tomorrow night, he's got his appearance scheduled then. RFK lectured attendees that the Bill of Rights, not the Constitution, limits governments from infringing on the lives of Americans. He called out past leaders as well for abusing their powers through fear-mongering, and then threw in a joke about a health scare that he recently disclosed.
It was the Red Scare in the 1920s. It was Joe McCarthy in the 1950s. It was civil rights protests and the Vietnam War protesters in the 1960s. It was the war on drug in the 1970s. It was the war on terror after 2001. And most recently, it was the COVID pandemic. Maybe a brainworm ate that part of my memory.
And the Libertarian Party can be on the ballot in 37 states, which could siphon voters from the major parties. Now over to the Money News, Daria Albinger.
Stocks recovered some of their losses. The Dow closed up 4 points, the S&P rose 37, and the Nasdaq added 185. Stocks bounded back for the most part since their worst day in April, but the Dow was still down 2% for the week.
It's Fleet Weekend. To mark the event, the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange was rung by naval and marine officers. A new report found consumer sentiment fell in May, but by less than anticipated. Workers at Georgia school bus maker Bluebird have approved their first union contract. The United Steelworkers, along with company and union members, voted to approve the 3-year deal, which will provide all 1,500 covered workers with an at least 12% raise. Eli Lilly will spend more than $5 billion to expand an Indiana manufacturing site to make more doses of its popular weight loss and diabetes medications, Zepbound and Mounjaro.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Hey, we're getting ready for our first round of Phone URFARB Friday. If you want to participate, the phone lines are open at 615-737-9986. In the meantime, let me tell you about the folks over at King and Associates Insurance in Brentwood. Been in business in this area for 25 years as an independent agency. And that's a good thing. Listen, an independent agency is what you want. You say, well, why? Well, because they can shop around. They are not stuck with just one product that they can sell you. If you tell them what your needs are, they can shop around and find out exactly the best policy for you, which means that you're getting a lot more bang for your insurance buck. And that's what you want, right? Listen, if you call the number 615-329-8121, you're not going to reach a call center. You're not going to get a recording that says your call is important to us. Please stand by, when you know it's really not. No, you're going to get an actual person who answered the phone. That's customer service. That's what it's all about. And they will get your questions answered and send you in the right direction. Multi-policy discounts, they're the king of that. You get 20, 25, 30, 35% savings if you bundle, and they will help you learn how you can take advantage of those big savings. So get your royal review with King and Associates Insurance. Just log on to tkinginsurance.com. That's tkinginsurance.com. King Insurance and Associates, where you'll get royal treatment and great rates.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
24, I make that 39 minutes past the hour on this 24th day of May. I got my numbers transposed there, and that's not good. Listen, you know what? It is Friday, even though it's a Memorial Day getaway day, and a lot of people may be on the roadways. A lot of people may have already kicked off their 3-day weekend, but we're going to try it anyway. Round one of a little thing we like to call Phone Your Farb Friday. Here you go, 615-737-9986. That's the number where you can participate. I mean, maybe you got a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you have a burr under your saddle. Maybe you have a cicada in the very place that we'd hope you never have that. No, that's not good. So just give us a call. Step up on our 100,000-watt soapbox and let us know exactly what you think about the news of the day. Listen, but we have two rounds of this, one at 4:35 and one at 5:35, and we like to compare them. We like to see who's the better thing. So look, because this is a holiday weekend, or people are not on their regular places. This is a great opportunity for anyone who's a first-time caller to get on and express yourself. 615-737-9986. Come on, folks. You can't let me down now. Maybe you're on the road right now. Let's down. By the time, we get through this, you could be a few more miles down the road and be completely. Wow. Is that thing working?
Yeah, let's double check. Yeah, it's working. Oh, there we go.
Come on, everybody. 615-737-9. I mean, it's harder on, we'll admit, it's harder on the holiday weekends to get people, all jazzed up to talk about it. But listen, I want you to join us and to carry on in the tradition. We can't. Well, now there you are. Wake up, everybody. Goodness gracious. How about that? So are we ready for the first one? Hang on a second. We're waiting. It just takes a moment for us to get these people all logged in. Now we got a full board. That's the way. You started slow, but you're finishing strong. Brian, on the road. You're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind today, Brian?
Hey, Brian. The comment you made a little bit ago about the corporate greed not being the reason prices going up or them raising prices, I agree with that for small businesses where the cost of the product makes them have to raise their prices. But when you see a lot of these big corporations posting hundreds of billions of dollars of profit every year, I believe that's corporate greed.
And who are you talking about?
Well, when they were talking earlier saying the Democrats are all saying that it's corporate greed, and you were saying, I don't agree that it's corporate greed that they're raising the prices.
When you say the corporate greed, who's making hundreds of billions of dollars in profit that you think that we should be calling out? Let's name names.
Well, the oil companies, all the Walmart companies, all the big corporations across the world that raise prices, it seems to me, just to raise prices every time the wind blows.
Yeah, so you think that there's some truth to what the Biden says about that?
Well, not so much Biden. Believe me, I am by no means a Democrat, but I just believe there's an awful lot of extra money when insurance companies can post ads on TV and pay money to coliseums to have their names put on the billboards and stuff like that. I believe that's corporate greed. I know it's advertising, but there's an awful lot of money spent on a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be. Like, I'm not going to say the company I work for, but I work for a company that when they buy parts and sell parts, there's 100% to a 200% markup on everything they touch.
Wow.
To me, that's corporate greed.
All right. Well, I think that most companies understand that competition requires them to sell a product for a price that's competitive. I think most times that's the case. I mean, if the company is charging too much for a product and somebody else is going to come in and say, I can do that cheaper and I can save people a lot of money, people are going to go to, they're going to beat a path to that person's door. But, I guess, you have to also consider the fact that in a lot of companies, when you talk about how much money they charge for stuff, there's a lot of other things like research and development and that kind of stuff that has to be paid for. So it's not always very clear, but I'll take your point. Maybe there are some people out there who are being greedy. But I find that greedy companies don't stay in business very long. All right, but thanks for the call, Brian. I appreciate it. Maybe if you have a different opinion, 615-737-9986. Let's go to Ryan in Ashland City. Ryan, what do you think? You're on with Brian on the Drive.
Hey, well, how you doing? Happy Memorial Day weekend, and
thank you.
I hope everybody takes the time to remember our fallen soldiers this weekend. But the question I had is, you have, people, so a lot of people are talking about that Biden may not be the one on the ballot. And I guess I was in the understanding that in certain states you had a certain time frame to, name your VP, to get on the ballot, to get your signatures. And so how could it be that they can just in the blink of an eye change their mind and put somebody else on the ticket? It can happen at the convention, and I think they can still do it. But I mean, you're right. Like, for example, Ohio's a problem for the Democrats right now because their convention is so late. But I understand that the governor, even though he's a Republican, has decided to hold a special session to change that so that Biden can get on the ballot in the state of Ohio. I don't know. I think there are ways they can fix it if they had to. There are solutions, I think. But you're right. It won't be easy. It could be a heavy lift, and we'll see how that all works out. But there's a story, for example, today that I just crossed. Kamala Harris, they say, would beat out Democrat stars and a swing state support if Biden drops out. Right? I mean, with that first debate is early, and maybe that's the reason why, that there would still be time to get these things changed in time to get him on the ballots. Because if he washes out in that debate, but it's interesting to me that there's even a poll out there that suggested that he won't run, and therefore we got to find out, who they're now polling to find out who would be the best candidate to replace him. I don't agree with Kamala Harris, but I'm not a Democrat either. All right, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. Heather is out there in Nashville. Heather, you're on with Brian on the Drive. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm going to go back to that corporate greed a little bit. Before, when he said his company gets a 100% markup on stuff, well, there's a big difference between gross profit and net profit. So after that 100% markup, they're paying the employees, they're paying the payroll taxes, they're paying rent on their building, utilities, insurance. Our insurance went up almost double this year. Our property tax went up doubled a few years ago here in Nashville on our corporate offices. So there's a lot to it that he's probably not considering. But what I originally called about is that there's some big criminal organization that I think is all related to the to illegal immigration. Our Lowe's account this past weekend had over $30,000 worth of charges charged to it without our authorization, and it was charges in like 6 different states. And they had the one person I talked to that actually didn't get to charge, because they called and said, hey, let's issue about this, was 2 Hispanic men coming in trying to charge $7,000 worth of flooring on our account, and they were calling somebody else to get authorization on our account, and they've got people. They had people in 6 different states that actually succeeded in charging material. So that's a big organization.
That is. I think you're sound right to some. We had at our house, we had to replace both of our debit cards. Cabana wife and I had to replace our debit card because we had she had much more charges than I did, but they were not. They were fraudulent charges. And the moment, the fraud people caught it early. In my case, and I said, no, that's not I didn't order that. And of course, then they locked down your card. She banks at a different bank, and they took a little longer to get it all straightened out, but they did. Really, I think that is true. I think it's happening a lot, and I'd like to know if there's an uptick in all of that. How about John in Murfreesboro? John, you're up next on the Drive. What do you say, John?
Yeah, hey, I remember you saying something about Biden's daughter and the journals were proven to be hers because she admitted it or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that statement about her saying that I think my showers with my father was inappropriate or whatever?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about it at all.
Well, I mean, it's out there. I mean, it's that story's been out there for a long time, and a lot of people didn't want to jump on the story because they weren't absolutely 1,000% sure it was really a real diary. And you didn't want to go out there and say, that you wanted to know it was hers. Well, she sent a note to the judge over somebody who's being prosecuted for stealing her diary, allegedly stealing the diary, and she, in that note to the judge, said, "Can you imagine how difficult it is to see your most innermost thoughts being read by everyone?" And that was sort of taken as a confirmation that indeed she was acknowledging that it was her diary. And so then, people said, well, okay, so now we know that it is her diary and these are her writings. And one of the things she said was that I took, when I was a young girl, I took showers with my father, and that was probably inappropriate. And it just laid there. Nobody really jumped on it. But I don't, so that may come up again, as we get closer and closer to the election. But no, I haven't heard any further developments on it. But she hasn't said that it's her diary, and indeed she wrote that about her dad. There's no doubt about that. Ricky in Watertown, what's on your mind, Ricky?
Hey, you mentioned the debit cards. Guess what? I had both of my cards get hacked into, too.
Yeah.
And I'll have to say the local bank does a wonderful job of calling you and letting you know.
Yeah, they did.
A buddy of mine owns a business here in town, an automotive repair shop, and he had his business account card get hacked into also.
Yeah. It's happening a lot. I hear a lot of people telling that story.
All right. If you want to see the world's greatest amount of cicadas in the county,
where are they?
Cedars of
Lebanon
State Park. Oh, my God. They got all them trees out there, you won't believe it.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you come to my house, I can tell you right now, I got a bunch of them. I got more than I can stand. All right, well, listen, thank you, Ricky, appreciate it. We're going to have to stop it there. Thank you. A slow start, but a strong finish. If you didn't get on, don't worry, we'll do this again in an hour, and I would appreciate you participating in the second round of Phone URFARB Friday. 51 minutes past the hour. Grace Point Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How? Well, as a direct pay provider, your healthcare is delivered without the red tape of an insurer's guidelines. Don't you really want that decision to be between you and your doctor? To keep your insurance company out of it? Well, this is one way to get around all that. Smart Care plans make it even more affordable. Starting at $69 a month, you get free office visits and basic labs for the entire year. Grace Point identifies and treats the root cause of a condition, not just the symptoms, utilizing a comprehensive functional approach, and by usually seeing you the same or next day, you're treated at your convenience. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. They are located on Main Street in Franklin, and here's the number, 615-599-6868. Again, that number is 599-6868 to set up your appointment.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
Well, I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
5 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Right now, 77 degrees in Nashville. Traffic and weather coming up in 5 minutes. Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine, a Republican, said yesterday that he's calling a special session of the General Assembly next week to pass legislation ensuring that President Joe Biden is on the state's 2024 ballot. Brittany Shepard.
The session is called for next Tuesday and would allow state lawmakers to work around a scheduling issue that currently keeps Biden off the ballot. As it stands, the Democrats' nominating convention is set to start August 19th. But Ohio state law needs presidential candidates to be certified weeks prior by August 7th. The General Assembly is also expected to pass a bill that would prohibit campaign spending by foreign nationals, an issue championed by Republicans.
And in Tennessee, a chemical spill happened last night at XPO Logistics on Enos Reed Drive, causing 4 people to have to go to the hospital. The spill created a vapor cloud, causing sickness to people. A nearby bakery factory was evacuated out of caution, and Metro Water Services was notified to ensure the spill did not reach any drains. They confirmed that the chemicals did not connect with any city water. More WeGo crime. Metro Police say a man was shot 3 times at a WeGo bus station downtown this morning. Channel 4's Michael Warwick fills us in on all the incidents that have happened recently with WeGo.
The shooting this morning on those steps behind me comes less than 24 hours after WeGo held a press conference emphasizing the safety of its buses and facilities. Metro Police arrested 19-year-old DeJuan Prime at the scene this morning after they say he got into an argument with the 20-year-old victim. Earlier this month, a WeGo bus driver was stabbed, and a different shooting also happened outside the downtown bus station. Just yesterday, WeGo CEO Steve Bland reiterated they hire security for its bus stations, partner with Metro Police, and have up to 16 cameras on each bus.
And WeGo has put out numbers that indicate there is not an increasing amount of crime on their buses. Entertainment news, Oscar-nominated documentary filmmaker Morgan Spurlock has died. Jason Nathanson.
When you say the name Morgan Spurlock, most people immediately think one thing.
I think I'm going to have to go supersize.
In his 2004 documentary Supersize Me, he chronicled the changes to his body as he ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days. It scored him an Oscar nomination, and throughout his career, he also tackled subjects from chicken farming to product placement. In 2017, he admitted to a history of sexual misconduct and pretty much stepped away from the industry. We're told Spurlock died from cancer complications. He was 53.
And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. 6 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on a Getaway Friday. A lot of people trying to get out of town for that 3-day weekend, and we really appreciate you being with us on this Friday, May 24th. We'll do another round of Phone URFARB Friday coming up at 5:35 this afternoon. So get your thoughts together. We want you to participate. We'll do a 2024 update, I guess, at this point. And bring you some new information since the last time we did our 2024 update at the beginning of the program. The Cook Political Report is a widely respected organization that looks at the races, and they're known for the handicapping House and Senate races as well. Nonpartisan, up the middle, and a good reputation by and large. And they've just released a bunch of battleground polls for you now. There's a couple of ways I could go at this. I think what I'll do is I'll look at the 5-way numbers, because I think really, honestly, that's what we're going to have. I mean, most states are going to have 5 candidates on the ballot, not just 2. And so let's take a look at where those numbers shape up in a 5-way matchup. These numbers look really good for Donald Trump. He leads in 6 out of the 7 battleground states. We start with the state of Arizona. And a 5-way matchup, that's Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West, and Stein. Trump leads by 4. In Georgia, same deal, he leads by 4. Michigan, Trump leads by 3. In Nevada, this is the second poll we've had where the numbers are really quite strong for Donald Trump. He leads by 8, which is outside the margin of error. Same thing in North Carolina. Outside the margin of error, he leads by 8. Pennsylvania, that's a must-win state if you're going to get the 270 political electoral votes that you need. He leads by 3 in Pennsylvania. And in Wisconsin, it's a dead-even tie. I mean, I'm telling you, if you are Donald Trump, you're looking at these numbers and you're going, yeah, I like the look of that. And if you're a Democrat right now, you're puckered. I mean, this is not good. This is really not good. And again, these battleground states, they're going to be certain states that are going to be red, and that certain states are going to be blue. But it's these battleground states that are sort of purple that will make or break a presidency, and they're in the run for the presidency. You got to win. Now, I looked at I've got an electoral college map going here. Let me go to that real quick and sort of explain to you where that all stands. Now, I go to 270 to win. They have already awarded North Carolina, I think, to Trump. I'll add Georgia to Trump. I think that looks good. I think Arizona looks good. I think Nevada looks good. And that leaves us then with Trump at 268 electoral college votes. So, what states are left that are not awarded either red or blue? Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. He's leading now in Pennsylvania. That would be 287. That would put him over. He's leading in Michigan. That would put him over. That'd be 302. And Wisconsin is a tie. So there we go. I'd like to see that. He's got to win. He's got to win one of the 3, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania. But I think he can. Now, he also claims that he can be competitive in a state like Virginia, which is right now on the map. They've awarded it to as a blue state. But I mean, if he got that one, then maybe he doesn't have to win. Okay, so let's turn that one red. Yeah, it would put him over 2. So there's a strategy. I can see why he's trying to pick up one of these other states, because if for example the blue wave does not dissipate in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, then you pick up one other state, he's got it. It doesn't matter. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But those numbers just got released, and again, the Cook Political Report is an organization that is widely respected as one of the best in the business. Okay. Other stuff we want to talk about. Yesterday at the Bronx, in the Bronx at the park, we had another rally for Donald Trump. Good turnout. Shocking the Democrats. Again, you got to be nervous when you can turn out a crowd like that in the Bronx, and Joe Biden shows up in a place, and they said the crowd was so small they thought somebody might yell out bingo, start railing out bingo numbers. It looked like a bingo gathering, not a political rally. I mean, dozens of people showed up for Joe Biden. I mean, there's an enthusiasm gap. There really is here. There's no doubt about it. And anyway, some of the biggest news was made not on the stage by Donald Trump, but in an interview by News 12 of New York, which is a cable news operation there in New York City. One of the questions that the reporter asked, and good questions, was about Nikki Haley, who recently announced that she was going to vote for Donald Trump. Didn't say she was going to support him, but said she would vote for him. And Trump seems to be saying, even though it was a nasty, primary process, and she said some ugly things about Donald Trump's letting that all go.
A big night last night, Nikki Haley making her first public remarks since dropping out of the race. She said that Joe Biden has been a catastrophe, and she said she's voting for you. I'm sure those were welcome remarks for you, but it also left a lot of people wondering, is there room for her on your team, or better yet, your ticket?
Well, I think she's going to be on our team because we have a lot of the same ideas, the same thoughts. I appreciated what she said. We had a nasty campaign. It was pretty nasty, but she's a very capable person, and I'm sure she's going to be on our team in some form. Absolutely.
Did you hear that? Very capable. I'm sure she's going to be on our team in some form. Absolutely. Well, I mean, they absolutely sort of say like, well, yeah, it's going to happen. I take him at his word. Then the reporter said, well, give us, tell us a little bit about your thinking about vice presidential running mate. She was swinging for the fences on this one because he's not going to reveal it. But he did name some names.
Let's make some news tonight, you and I, for your hometown TV station. Share with me your top 3 candidates for your running mate at this point.
Well, we have so many. I don't want to do that, but we have so many. You could take people like Ben Carson. You could take people like Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance. I mean, there are so many. Elise is doing a fantastic job.
Elise Stefanik.
But I could go on for quite a long time. We have many people that would do a really fantastic job.
Do you have a timeline on when you'll make the decision?
I think sometime during the convention.
Well, he didn't. He said, look, there's a lot of names out there, but he did mention Vance and Rubio. Both are senators. Rubio from Florida, Vance from Ohio. Both of those guys would be awesome. I mean, they'd be so good. Marco Rubio is as smart as a whip. I mean, that guy is so smart. It's scary how smart that guy is and how good he is on his feet. So he'd be good. Vance is really impressing a lot of people. Elise Stefanik is a member of the leadership on the House side from the state of New York. So he mentioned her. But I don't think that's a definitive list, but those were the names he mentioned. And then the other little tidbit out of there is, when will you make the announcement? He said, during the convention. Often this happens just before the convention, but he said during. So he's gonna keep the mystery alive all the way up to the convention, which is in July. Okay. Now, on the other side of the equation, there are continuing talks about whether or not Joe Biden is going to bow out. I mean, these numbers that they got today, man, that's really bad news for the Democrats and for the Biden campaign. I mean, that's really bad news. That's the second. I mean, the New York Times Siena poll, pretty respected, and now this Cook political report of the battleground states looking almost identical. It really has got to worry the Democrats. Will Joe Biden actually be the nominee? Doug Schoen is a Democrat pollster, and he says, well, it looks like he'll be the nominee, but he left open the possibility that a swap could be coming.
Well, I think he is most likely the nominee. The national polls are within a point or two now, and even though this...
Well, hold on, I just have to stop in there. The national polls on the general election numbers are within a poll, not in the battleground states. And, that's interesting because I don't think that the general election numbers mean anything, because you can win the popular vote but not win enough electoral college votes. It's all about racking up the right states, but I'll let him continue.
States are showing really a clear Trump lead. Biden is within the hunt, but there's a but, Kaylee, and the but is a disastrous debate, as you suggest, which, given what we saw today, could well happen. And more bad polls and more bad performances could lead what happened to Richard Nixon in the summer of 1974 to happen to Joe Biden. It's a long shot, but the party elders could come to him and say, Mr. President, it's time to consider stepping aside. Again, most likely Joe Biden will be the nominee and will run the campaign, notwithstanding his challenges. But it's within the realm of possibility. I don't rule it out.
See, I think this is why the Democrats have put one of the debates and wanted to have one of the debates very early. Because if he's going to wash out, it will be after that debate. So I think he's in till the debate, which is June 27th. Boy, that's going to be, you don't want to miss that. That's going to be quite the show, right? June 27th. So he's probably until then. But if he does poorly in that debate, and I'm telling you, lately he's been a disaster. I mean, he had this speech at the NAACP where all you got to do is just read off the teleprompter, and he had to have 9 corrections made by when they put out the transcript. They corrected him 9 times. Not what he said, what he apparently meant to say. That's where we are. I mean, one time he said he was vice president during the pandemic. He meant recession, but he said pandemic. His thinking is scrambled, and it's very concerning, isn't it? I mean, I'm concerned. Kathy Hochul in New York didn't like this whole thing in the Bronx in her own backyard, and she called the people who were there sort of an ugly name.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader of and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York.
What? She's like the basket of deplorables. She's calling people who support Donald Trump a bunch of clowns. Well, you know what? They really weren't clowns. They were people from the Bronx, and they were people who support Donald Trump.
It's too much crime. Everything is going downhill. The economy is going bad. The food is expensive. It's like affordable housing is not for everybody. It's just horrible.
I want food to go cheaper. The gas, I want gas cheaper. When I came and he was the president, the gas was a lot cheaper than it is right now.
Now we're becoming the Bronx second-class citizens. We have this influx of migrants that are coming in, and they're getting everything. And everyone in the Bronx, in the city of New York, is forgotten.
Here's more from a Fox reporter at the scene.
Where are you from?
The Bronx, actually.
I'm originally from the Bronx and from New York.
I'm from the Bronx.
Right here in the Bronx, New York. This is home, right here. AOC says if you're not a Democrat, you don't belong here in the Bronx. Right. What do you say?
I disagree with that.
I don't think she should be here in the Bronx. I actually don't know any Democrats living in the Bronx.
Look, AOC, look at the tremendous support for Mr. Donald J. Trump.
You need to tell her then she need to stay out the Bronx, because look at all the people around. Everybody's here for Trump.
I am a Democrat, and I belong here.
And who are you voting for?
Donald J. Trump.
What has AOC done for the Bronx? She's done nothing for the Bronx. Nothing. Nothing's changed. Nothing's gotten any better.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Let her come to the Bronx and let her come among us people that struggle. She doesn't even know what struggle is.
One more.
I've been Democrat all my life. And Donald Trump, he just has the right answers. He's speaking on illegal immigration, all the money pouring out of the country, people losing their jobs, the economy is failing. And at 60 years old, I realize now that we have to support Donald Trump and make things better.
When you can turn out a crowd like that in one of the bluest areas of the country, New York City, and in the Bronx, that has got to terrify Democrats. And then they look at it, and then the next day, today, we get these numbers from the Cook Political Report that show that these numbers are real. I mean, these numbers are real. We've had several polls now that show the same thing. Well, you got Trump leading in 6 out of the 7 battleground states. If you're a Democrat, you have to be terrified at all of this stuff. You have to be truly worried. And I'm more than ever now, I sort of believe that I'll be really surprised if Biden is the nominee. I mean, I just think that when it gets this bad, this early, that the elders are going to go to him and say, you know what? I'm sorry, Joe, it's just not working. And when I say elders, I mean Barack Obama. He's the only guy who can do it. Now, but you know what? There's nothing that makes Biden, he doesn't have to step down. You know, there's some ego involved in it for him, for sure. So I don't know. It's getting interesting, but I mean, if you're looking at these numbers and you're a Republican, you can't be anything but pleased. Absolutely. It is now 21 minutes past the hour. You know, the same company you've trusted for 30 years in your crawl space is now offering mold treatment and $500 off any mold growth solution. That's now through June 30th. The most trusted and most experienced crawl space repair company in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky is USS, United Structural Systems, and they can help you. If you have mold growing in your house, it's a bad thing. Those spores from the mold, they come into your house and they make it difficult for you to breathe. It's not healthy at all. You need to breathe easier with USS mold treatment and turn your crawl space into a healthy space. $500 off the USS 3-step RTE process. RTE. Remove it, treat it, encapsulate it. USS doesn't just remove the growth, because you'll never get rid of your home with mold if you don't get to the root of the problem and take steps to prevent mold from returning. It's that RTE mold treatment system that does it. And again, right now, $500 off the USS mold treatment RTE solution. Your space will be warranted and backed by USS guarantees, giving you peace of mind knowing that any mold spores will no longer fill the airwaves of your home. USS here to help for all your foundation and waterproofing needs. Here's the number, 615-488-7855. Learn more at USSTN.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional. Of all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spoke today, and former President Trump set to speak tomorrow at the Libertarian National Convention. Drugs found in Tennessee and tragedy for a state lawmaker in Missouri. We'll tell you about it. 5:30 Super Talk 109.7 WTN.
Sorry, jumped the gun there.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport. The thrill of victory. And the agony of defeat.
It's time for our sports break. Time for the Mac Maury's wide, wacky, weird, wonderful world of sports. And now, here without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, who brings you all of the interesting stuff going on in sports and some of the uninteresting stuff that goes on in sports. We draw no distinctions. The one, the only, Mac Maury.
Hey, but it's all interesting to me, so that's what matters, right?
And that's what we love about you, is that you have such an enthusiasm for it. That was tacky of me. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said
it's fine. I think this will interest
messing
you.
with you.
I think this will interest you today.
Oh, okay, well, good.
Big bombshell last night that got then headlined today because it was approved. The NCAA and Power 5 conferences have approved a $2.8 billion settlement that'll basically set the stage for direct athlete pay. We know about name, image, likeness, NIL, which is now finally given these athletes the ability to, make money off of their name, make money off of their face. We see the new NCAA college football game that just got released for the first time in, a decade or so. All those players' real names are in the game. They're all getting paid to be in the video game now, which is what should happen. They should be making money off of that. Yeah. Now, not just NIL, they'll actually get direct payment from these schools. All Power 5 have approved it. It's a $2.8 billion settlement to host I think 3 antitrust lawsuits. But they'll be paying current athletes as well as some of these past athletes.
Wow.
It was actually brought by a past athlete, Tom McMillan. He's the former Maryland basketball player. He's also a congressman.
I know him.
Yep. Yeah. He came forward and basically he says this is a huge quantum leap. But yeah, a lot of these athletes are saying, hey, you guys make oodles and oodles of money, and we're on the field, we're on the court, we're sacrificing our body, we're the product. We should have some of this. And so some of these former athletes will get it, and these current athletes will start to get it. So basically, NCAA's bedrock of amateurism since 1906, that is no longer intact anymore. This is officially starting to become professional sports. That will come with a lot of pros. That will probably come with some cons here in the near future, and we'll have to find a balance. But I don't think it's a stretch that you got some big quarterback who's making millions of dollars on NIL endorsements and in commercials, who's also getting paid probably $100,000 a year from the school itself. So these guys are going to be making a lot of money. We don't.
Well, you know what I worry about. Yeah, I really worry about. I mean, we've seen what happens when young men get out of college, go play in the majors or go play. Major League Football, and they end up not able to handle. The fame and the money, and they go down the road to ruin. I mean, I hope that there is in this whole process something that will make sure that these young athletes get some guidance about this kind of stuff, because
need that. You can't just cut them a check and turn them loose. That's just not good.
Can't give that kind of money to a young person without there being problems.
I will say, at least now it is approved and known, because those checks were getting cut before. Let's be clear. Those cars, those checks were all being cut. They were just under the table. And now at least it's approved, and that does allow for some more jurisdiction and more oversight, at least to me. But I completely agree. I mean, I can't imagine if I was 18 and I got handed, $4 million. That's scary. So, definitely big changes in college football, college sports in general. Good. We don't know how Title IX will deal with all this, how the women will get paid and all that stuff. There's a lot to be figured out here, but definitely exciting new stuff.
Wow, that's a big development.
It's huge.
All right, we'll call it that. Our sports report. Now it's time for the news report, also brought to you by Mac Maury. 31 past the hour.
.531. I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 75 degrees in Nashville, and we are monitoring a possibility for severe weather over your long holiday weekend. We'll let you know about it. Traffic report and a weather forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Presumptive GOP presidential nominee Donald Trump and independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually courting the members of the Libertarian National Convention on different days this weekend. RFK Jr. this afternoon made his pitch, and then Mr. Trump will do it tomorrow. And We hear from Brittany Shepard.
Kennedy Jr. accused several former U.S. leaders of taking advantage of times of great tragedy and violating constitutional rights. He threw in a joke, too, about a recent health controversy involving his brain and a dead worm.
Maybe a brain worm ate that part of my memory.
Kennedy has told ABC News he does not need to seek the Libertarian presidential nomination in order to get on more ballots. But if he changes course, they could expedite his efforts to get on in all 50 states.
And in Tennessee, got a crime story. Laverne police executed a search warrant at an apartment and seized over 1,300 fentanyl pills. They also found nearly $13,000 along with drug paraphernalia and firearms in the process of the search. Andre Petway Jr. now in custody. That investigation does remain active. And tragedy for a state lawmaker in Missouri, Derek Dennis filling us in.
Republican Missouri Congressman Ben Baker says his heart is broken in 1,000 pieces. His 21-year-old daughter, Natalie, and her 23-year-old husband, Davy Lloyd, were among 3 people shot and killed in a gang attack while serving as missionaries in Haiti. Happened Thursday night, the congressman confirming it on Facebook, writing they were leaving a youth church meeting when they were ambushed by a gang of 3 trucks full of guys. In March, the State Department issued a travel advisory urging Americans not to travel to Haiti. Representative Baker says his daughter and son-in-law had been living in Haiti since 2022.
And that is the latest news. Weather and traffic are next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
We are just a few minutes away from another round of Phone URFARB Friday, 615-737-9986 to get on the line and get ready. In the meantime, let me tell you about the folks at Nashville Gold and Silver. You know, we often talk about how the United States has a $34 trillion debt that they're not going to pay off anytime soon. You know what they're going to do? They're going to print money to pay the interest on the debt and weaken the U.S. dollar. Maybe it's time to think about a different kind of investment. How about saving with gold or other precious metals? Maybe you've thought about that. Maybe you've thought about adding gold or other precious metals to your portfolio, but you feel like you don't have the knowledge you need to make a smart decision. Well, that's the way I felt. But I got the professional guidance I needed at Nashville Gold and Coin. Here's how it works. You make an appointment. You sit down one-on-one with my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin. They'll answer all your questions and help you make the precious metals investment that is right for you. It is friendly. You will learn a lot, and you will never be subjected to a high-pressure sales pitch. Gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times, and my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. Now, maybe you have some old coins laying around gathering dust. Bring them along, because you're going to be surprised how much they might be worth. To set up a one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
"39 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Time to do this little thing that we do on every Friday. We do 2 rounds of it. Time for second round. Now, listen, the first round was pretty strong, so we're expecting good things out of the second round. It's not a competition, but we do note these things. It's a thing we call Phone UrFarb Friday. That's right. We want to know what's on your mind. And listen, maybe we want you to call this number, 615-737-9986. Now, it's a holiday weekend, and so normally the phones are a little slow on holiday weekends as we start off. But I know you're going to turn out in big numbers. 615-737-9986. Maybe you got a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you got to burn your saddle. Maybe you got a cicada in a place you should never have a cicada. Hey. That's right. Step on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself within boundaries, because it is a family show. It is a family show. Okay, and so, again, it's not a competition, but we did have a pretty strong round. They started slow, but they finished strong in the 4:30 hour, and we have a full board now, so let's get started. Patrick in Estelle Springs, you're on with Brian on the drive. Hey, Patrick, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Brian. How are you doing today? I just had 2 quick comments. The first one was I thought Trump was pretty smart doing that event in the Bronx yesterday. But I also think maybe he should take one to Kathy Hochul's backyard and do one in Albany just to kind of show, what kind of support that he has. And then the other issue was the Ohio ballot issue with Biden. You can bet that if it was a red candidate in a blue state that missed that they wouldn't take the effort.
You're absolutely right.
To try to
You're
put him on
absolutely
the
right
ballot.
about that.
And I don't think Ohio should do that either.
Yeah, that's Mike DeWine. DeWine is his name, Mike DeWine. And you know what? I don't like to throw around that word rhino, but if you were to find a person out there who fit that term, he would be that. So I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, if they can't get their act together, why does Mike DeWine have to call a special session of the Ohio state legislature to solve their problems for them? They knew what the deadlines were. It's not their problem to fix. It's the campaign's problem to fix. I disagree with it too. Thank you for the call, RD in Culleoka. Hello, RD. You're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, RD?
Hello there, Brian.
Hey.
I agree with you. If Obama and the others in power are to pressure Biden to step down, it will be after the debates. But I can really see that Biden refusing to do so for a couple of reasons. First one, you mentioned ego. Second being, I think he's delusional on where he stands with the people. And the third being, he really thinks he can pull this off and get reelected in order to keep his son out of prison.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets beaten that there would be a pardon given by the president for his son. I would not be surprised at that at all. You know what? I think you're right. I think those are all good points, but I think that's why I really am starting to think that's why they wanted the first debate to be so early. Because if he craters there, then they're going to have to do something. It seems like it's pretty certain to me that they will not go forward with these numbers looking the way they're looking, especially these numbers that came out today. Oh, my gosh. They've got to be really worried about that. Thank you for the call, RD. Appreciate it. How about Marva in Reedyville? Marva, you're on with Brian on the drive.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. I hope you're having a good Friday, but I'm really upset about these college kids going to be basically making money off of playing college sports. This is not right. You know, we pay enough for tickets right now, concessions and everything. I don't understand why they're doing this. You know, these kids are playing hard. They're playing hard to get to the NFL or get to the NBA, but them getting paid to play college, I just don't agree with it one bit.
Well, you know, you're putting your health and your whole livelihood there on the line in college football, and a lot of people felt like these colleges were raking in a lot of dough, and that the kids weren't getting anything out of it except an education, which is not nothing, I suppose. But I mean, they felt like they were sort of being used. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I do believe that. But I really worry about these kids who are going to start pulling in these major amounts of money, huge amounts of money when they're 18 years old.
I do too. And, I mean, they're just, if they don't make the NFL or the NBA or whatever, they're just going to go blow that money. So, I just don't understand the whole concept of their thinking, the college right now.
Well, I think that ship has sailed. I think now that's going to be the way it is going forward. But thank you for the call, Marva. I greatly appreciate it. Brian, out on the road. Hey, what's going on, Brian? What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. Good to talk to you. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
I just have a thing about the traffic in Nashville. I come up here Monday through Friday and in the afternoon, so I deal with a lot of traffic. But I remember going through Ohio a few years ago, and I remember a city bypass lane, and I can't remember. I think it was Cincinnati, but where you could only get on and off every 5 miles. And there was a median in between it, parallel to the interstate. And so, therefore, anyone that didn't want to stop in the city, they would get on the bypass lane, and you could continue on. It would just let you get on and off if you wanted to. If you wanted to stay on the bypass lane,
an express lane.
Well, it's kind of like an express lane, but it wasn't a toll lane.
Yeah,
it was, I guess, paid by the taxes. But I just think it'd be a really good idea for Nashville.
Well, listen, see, I'm sorry, Brian, let me just, I just want you to know, Mayor Freddie O'Connell is all over it. There will be no more transportation problems if Mayor O'Connell has his way. There also won't be any roads for you to drive on because you'll have to get a bus to get around Nashville. No, I hear what you're saying. I don't think that this transportation referendum is the right solution, and I'm coming out against it until I'm convinced that it really can work, and I'm not convinced at all at first blush. Thank you for the call, man, and thanks. A good idea. I like that idea. It has to be a regional approach. That's the only way it's going to really be better around here. How about Steve in Lebanon? Steve, hello, good afternoon. You're on with Brian on the Drive. Steve.
Hey, hi, Brian. Have you been out to the Veterans Museum?
in the plaza out in Lebanon?
I don't think I have, no, but I would like to go.
Oh, you've got to go see it. We've got a good program going out here, and on Monday, 11 o'clock. Come on out and take a look at the museum. It's beautiful. Got a helicopter in there. It's and it goes through all the military escapades that we've done through the years. Come on out here.
All right, that's a great advice. If you're listening and you're looking for something to do on Memorial Day, that sounds like a great idea. Thank you for the call, Steve. I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for the invitation. I'll take you up on it sometime. Let's go to Bob in Coopertown. Hey, Bob, good afternoon. You're on with Brian on The Drive.
Brian, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to say that when we talk about the greatest generation that fought World War II, love them all. But I think that the generation that fought the Revolutionary War is worth a mention as well.
Well, that's an interesting thought. I think you're right. Listen, I hope that on Memorial Day that a lot of folks will stop and actually think about the real reason for Memorial Day. It's not, not for a sale at the mall. It's not for, if you can have a cookout, you can go to the beach and celebrate time with family. That's all great. But stop and remember why you have the ability to do these things. It's because, many people gave their lives on behalf. Freedom is not free. And we need to remember those people who made the ultimate sacrifice. Thanks for the call, and thank you for the thought. Let's see. Let's go to Danny in Nashville. Danny, hello. You're on with Brian on The Drive. What do you say, Danny?
Hey, Brian. I was just wondering, who's over the road department in Nashville, Davidson County? They seem to have all this surplus money they talk about, but all they can do is send somebody out there with a shovel and some coal patch and throw it in the hole, fix the road, and that makes the hole worse than the original hole because it doesn't get tamped down. They just throw it out there and let the cars run over it. Before you start putting buses and all these magical ideas, how about fixing the roads we got to drive on first? Then we'll
what a concept. Yeah, what a great idea that would be. I think we're in sort of that zone where it has to get to be a certain temperature before they can actually bring out the real asphalt and fix these things for real. And that usually happens during the summer. So we're sort of in that zone. After the storms that caused the potholes, they did a bunch of patching, and now that patching is coming undone, and they're not very far from starting the repairs. So I hope that those things will get better. This is a continual thing, though, isn't it? It really is. Okay, one last call, and we'll call it quits for this Friday. Jonah in Ashland City. Hello, Jonah. You're on with Brian on The Drive.
Hi, Brian. I just had a comment about the lady that presumed to know that these college students that were going to be getting paid were just going to waste all of their money and blow it. And while that is a distinct possibility, I want to remind everyone that it's all entirely based on their upbringing. And did their mother and father, hopefully they had both, did they teach them how to handle money the right way? And if so, then it's a non-starter. There's no issue there at all. So it all goes back to the number one problem of everything in this country is the breakdown of the family. And that's all I've got to say, sir.
Well, that's true, except that some of these young athletes... I'm sorry, he's in a very loud vehicle. I don't know, what's he, with the windows rolled down or something? I don't know. Some of these families come from places where they never had a lot of money. So they don't really know how to advise their children. That's part of the problem. But, I hope that this thing, I think we can all see what's about to happen. It's like there's a train wreck coming, and it's just a matter of time, because unless these young people get some real good counseling and somebody to help them understand that, you could literally, I guess, in a situation, you could graduate from college and you could be retired if you did it right. If you're making good money in college, even if you don't make it to the big time, you might be able to just retire on that. So, you got to make sure you're making good investments and not blowing it on fancy schmancy cars and silly things. 51 now past the hour. Thanks. I think. I think we need to say, Chris, the 4 o'clock or the 5 o'clock?
Well, given the 4 o'clock slow start, I'm going to give it to the 5 o'clock hour.
I think so too. I mean, they started. Yep. They made us panic there for a moment.
They did. Yeah,
they did. We worried they weren't going to be there, but the 5 o'clock was very strong. All right, we'll call it a winner for the 5 o'clock. It's now 51 past the hour. You know, there are a lot of diagnoses out there and a pill for everything, but not all diagnoses are accurate and not all pills are good for you. And when you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, you should get a second opinion before you make a major decision. Eurofix is the home for second opinions. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on vehicle repair, why don't you go to Eurofix? It could save you a lot of time. It could save you a lot of money. It could save your vehicle's life. Life's too short to get stressed out about all this kind of stuff. Know that you're dealing with good people. At Eurofix, you'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. And at Eurofix, you'll get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. They are located now in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and their newest location is in Mount Juliet, on Mount Juliet Road, right across from the Dairy Queen. To call this number, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
6:01, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 76 degrees, sunny currently on Music Row, but we are expecting storms over the holiday weekend. We'll tell you about it in our weather forecast, plus that latest traffic report in 5 minutes. Today marks 2 years since the deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas that took the lives of 19 students and 2 teachers. And the families are suing a gun manufacturer along with 2 high-tech companies. Alex Stone with details.
Represented by a lawyer who won a record amount of money in a settlement for Sandy Hook families, the loved ones of the victims in Uvalde are now suing Daniel Defense, the maker of the AR-15 style gun that was used in the attack. They're also suing the maker of the first-person shooter game Call of Duty and Meta, the parent company of Facebook. The lawsuit alleges that 3 companies groomed a generation of socially vulnerable young men to carry out violent video game fantasies.
And got a traffic nightmare for the evening commute in Anaheim, California. On this busy kickoff to Memorial Day, there was a standoff with a stalking suspect in the 91 freeway, which had it shut down for hours. The suspect is now dead. Alex Stone says one side of the freeway is still closed.
With the threat now over, eastbound lanes of the 91 freeway, a major artery in Orange County, are now open, but the westbound lanes will be shut down for hours while an investigation is carried out. The suspect is dead. He was believed to have been armed inside of a small blue car during a standoff that went on for hours. Police had armored trucks blocking him in on the freeway. Then police moved in and pulled out his body.
Back here in Tennessee right now, a woman died from a house fire last night. It was in Putnam County on Walnut Road around 8 p.m. when fire crews showed up to the house already engulfed in flames. They charged in to remove her, but once they did, they could not sustain a pulse on her transport to the hospital. The cause of the fire under investigation, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is assisting. And Memorial Day travel is here. We told you about that nightmare in Anaheim, California. Well, here's what to expect in the Mid-State from Channel 4's Steve Mailing.
It's one of the biggest travel weekends of the year. With Memorial Day weekend on deck, we're taking a closer look at weather conditions, road conditions, and gas prices in our area.
Starting out with our weather, we've got alert days across the board this weekend. The biggest threat hitting Sunday afternoon into the evening. You'll want to keep emergency road kits handy, as well as exercise caution when driving with slick roads and potential localized floodings across the Mid-State. Shifting to what to expect on the roads, expect a lot of people to be traveling the same way. AAA estimating nearly 40 million people are choosing to drive this weekend to get to where they need to be. And let's get a look at the pumps. Davidson County among the priciest in Tennessee, averaging near $3.30 a gallon. For cheaper prices, you'll have to fill up way outside the metro area, with Henry County being the closest, according to AAA, to see prices closer to the $3 mark.
And Gas Buddy putting the average in Tennessee at $3.28 per gallon. And make sure to pack extra blankets, chargers, and snacks whenever you leave. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, good evening, everybody. 8 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. This is the fourth and final hour of the drive on the Friday, Getaway Friday. A lot of people try to get out of town and start a big 3-day weekend. We appreciate you being a part of what we do here. We'll be here for one more hour, then we'll hand it over to Mark Levin after the top of the news at 7 o'clock hour. Here we go. There's 3 stories that have come out of nowhere this afternoon. And, a lot of times I just say I always look at about this time of day on a Getaway Friday, 3-day weekend. Generally, that's when some piece of information comes out that they didn't really want you to, that they have to tell you about, but they don't want to tell you about. And, the bad news, they bury it on a Friday at 5 o'clock on a 3-day weekend. And I don't know if I've seen anything that really qualifies. The numbers that came out from the Cook Political Report certainly are eye-popping this afternoon. But, man, I don't think that's it. I haven't seen anything just yet. But there is this story, and I've seen it shows up in, like, all of a sudden out of nowhere, it comes up in 3 different places. From theblaze.com. Democrats have a new playbook for pressuring and restructuring the Supreme Court. Coordinated oppo dumps, a willing press, and a party that wants to bend the court. It might seem strange to read that the Democrats are preparing to investigate a Supreme Court justice. The legislature's authority over the top court, after all, is seriously limited. Justices' lifetime appointments are designed precisely to shield them from the kind of political pressures that Congress or the president might bring to bear post-confirmation. It might seem even stranger to see Justice Samuel Alito splashed across the top of Politico's playbook and the New York Times morning newsletters for the high crime and misdemeanor of flying a nerdy Revolutionary War flag. But it is part of a deliberate strategy to try to combat virtually the only check remaining on the Democrat Party's political power. While Congress and the White House cannot outright remove judges, they can bring real pressure to bear, cast national doubt on rulings, and reform the court even to the point of expanding it. The reason for all this is the Supreme Court sometimes says no to things the Democrat wants. I would add, in my own words here, I would add this. It also is the fact that they've got a 6-3 court right now that doesn't often go their way. They don't like this particular court. Continuing with the Blaze, already this year the court has batted down Trump versus Anderson, which in the state official tried to block Republican candidate Donald Trump from the Colorado ballot for treason. They are currently considering 2 other cases that could decide what immunities a president has from prosecution for official duties and whether a law designed to prosecute Enron executives can be used to put January 6 rioters and trespassers in prison for years. If that, by the way, if that one goes, against the rulings of the Justice Department, there's a lot of people that are put in jail for January 6th who have to be released immediately. For 3 springs, the court has endured an annual attack coordinated between opposition researchers, their friends in the press, congressional allies, and sometimes even internal abettors. Yeah, they're going after Alito, and this is all calculated. These things don't come out of thin air. And look, they've had this sitting in their back pockets for a long time. Obviously, they had this picture of his flag flying upside down at this house, and now the appeal to heaven flag that was flying at his beach place. And they're trying to make something out of it, and they're saying basically what they're wanting Alito to do is recuse himself from deciding the immunity question that is before the high court with regard to Donald Trump and the documents case. Does he have immunity? Does he not? And I have a feeling, this is just me being suspicious, Brian, that they probably feel like this is the time to hit Alito because they have some window into the internal deliberations of the high court from either law clerks or maybe one of the 3 liberal members of the court have given them an idea of where the votes stand, and at least initially on this. And they must think it's close, and if they think they can take Alito out and recuse him, that they might have the case go away, that it might otherwise not go. I have a feeling they know a little something about what's going on with that particular case, or they wouldn't be raising it right now. Because this is, I mean, I tell you, the Democrats, I'll give them this. They're well organized. They get together and they plot, and they keep things in their back pocket, and they have a plan and a strategy, and nothing happens by accident when they come out and start attacking people. So all of a sudden now they've decided Alito is their target. Listen to this. From FoxNews.com, SCOTUS chief of the Chief Justice, John Roberts, has been pressured to force Alito's recusal ahead of Trump's immunity decision. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts is facing pressure to ensure that Justice Samuel Alito recuses himself from any 2020 election-related cases in the wake of the controversy over flags flown at his two homes around the time of the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. By displaying the upside-down and appeal to heaven flags outside his home, Justice Alito actively engaged in political activity, they say, failed to avoid the appearance of impropriety, failed to act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the impartiality of the judiciary, wrote Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Dick Durbin, the most aptly named senator in the United States Senate, and chairman of the Judiciary Subcommittee of Federal Court Sheldon Whitehouse in a letter to Roberts. So they're pressuring Roberts to put pressure on Alito to stand down in this particular case. Again, why? It's a 6-3 court. Okay, if you think conservatives are going to vote in lockstep, then it's a 5-3 court. Doesn't matter. But I think they know something about where these negotiations are going. This particular case is going. According to Durbin and Whitehouse, Alito has created reasonable doubt about his impartiality and his ability to fairly discharge his duty in cases related to the 2020 presidential election and the January 6th attack. Here's another one. Here's the third story on this. Democrat Senate leaders call for meetings with Chief Justice on Alito recusal after flag controversy. 2 Democratic senators sitting on the powerful Senate Judiciary Committee are requesting a meeting with Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts to address Justice Samuel Alito's flag controversy. Senate Judiciary Chairman Dick Durbin and Senator Sheldon Whitehouse sent a joint letter asking to speak with the Chief Justice to ensure Alito recuses himself from cases surrounding the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. We request a meeting with you as soon as possible. That's highly irregular. Highly irregular. You don't go out and lobby the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, no matter who you are. We request a meeting as soon as possible. In your capacity as Chief Justice and presiding officer of the Judicial Conference of the United States to discuss additional steps to address Supreme Court ethics crisis. Until the court and the Judicial Conference take meaningful action to address this ongoing ethical crisis, we will continue our efforts to enact legislation to resolve this crisis. What? You can't. What are you going to get? You're going to get a constitutional amendment? That's not going anywhere. Listen, what they're going to do is they're going to trash the conservative members of the Supreme Court. They're going to be scrutinized. I mean, this is nothing new. They do this all the time. But now, they're really worried about that immunity ruling of the high court, which could do away with the case against Donald Trump. It really could do away with it. And if it does, they feel like, it's going to be, well, we're going to do everything we can to try to have an impact on that particular case and that particular matter. They are so frightened right now that they're doing things that are really outside the boundaries of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. It's not appropriate to lobby the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. That's why, we gave our Supreme Court members, lifetime appointments, whether you like it or not. We have a 6-3 court. They hate that. They want to do everything they can to try to change that. And the way they're doing it is they're going to go after members. We could go after members of the left. We could do the same thing, but it's not proper. It's not proper. This guy flew a flag over his house. So big whoop. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but they're going to go after them, and that's what we're going to be watching in the next few days. Watch them try to build up the pressure. Build up the pressure. And what they're trying to do is diminish people's opinion of the high court, and then they're going to try to set the groundwork for what they really want, which is court packing. They want to pack the court, and they want to add a bunch more people while they're in charge, while they got the House, the White House, and the Senate. That's all you need to get a Supreme Court justice confirmed. But right now, unless somebody resigns or somebody decides that they're done, there aren't any openings. And so what they would like to do is pack the court, and they want to do it now while they have the White House and the Senate. That's going to be their next move. And we got to bring some sanity to the Supreme Court. We need more liberals on the high court. So we're going to suggest that we move beyond 9 members of the Supreme Court and just add a bunch more. Well, that's I guess the legislative approach they're thinking of. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to happen. Legislative approach would still have to go through the House. And as you know, Republicans control the House. So, look, a waste of time, but they're going to make a lot of noise because they want people in America to think that the opinions that are given by the Supreme Court are not to be obeyed, that the opinions of the Supreme Court are to be questioned, and so that they can then set the arena to try to go after this court packing thing that they want to do. It's insane. And again, 3 stories, boom, 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 right there out of thin air. Actually, 4 stories, 4 stories, all about the same thing, suggesting that the Democrats are up to no good in this regard. 20 minutes now, past the hour of 6. If you're in the market for the pole barn, the 2 brothers that run Stoltz Co are the guys you need to talk to. Known for exceptional quality, craftsmanship, and fair prices. What else could you ask for? They can build your new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind. That's the Stoltz Co difference. You can use pole barns for all kinds of things. It can function as a classic tool or work barn, a garage, place for your horses. How about that? What about a barn that you live in? That's called a barn dominium. They're very cool, and a lot of people just love them. And when you see one, you can understand why. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They don't scrimp on quality. They don't cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. So I want you to go to their website, stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO.com. And they will give you an estimate over the phone if you call them, 615-622-5992. That's 615-622-5992. Stoltz Co, where customer service is affordable. You just go to stoltzco.com for more information. That's stoltzco.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on a getaway Friday. Hope you're getting out of town safely. Take it easy on the highways. I've got some information here. The Popo will be out there in big numbers, they say.
5-0.
5-0. The Tennessee Highway Patrol will conduct saturation patrols, seatbelt and sobriety checkpoints in an effort to reduce the number of crashes across the volunteer state this holiday weekend. That starts today at 6 p.m. and lasts until 6 a.m. on Tuesday, May 28th. So they're going to be out there. And listen, it's a good reason. I mean, they say there have been 12 fatal crashes during Memorial Weekend last year. 12 in the state of Tennessee. State troopers ultimately arrested 94 individuals on suspicion of driving under the influence, and they made over 7,800 traffic stops last Memorial Day. So that gives you some idea of why, they're out there. So, be careful, keep an eye out, but they're definitely going to be out there in bigger numbers and looking to keep things under control. Look, I mean,
just make good choices.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. Make good choices. I mean, everybody likes to drive 80 miles an hour around here, and maybe I've been known to do that at times. Just saying, please, I'm not judging you because I've done it. But I mean, honestly, when the traffic starts to get a little heavier, you just can't do that. Your reaction times are not good enough, and you will have, these accidents out there. And what you really want to do is get there. And, if you get there, by going 70 miles an hour instead of 80 miles an hour, how much does that really add to your trip in the grand scheme?
Yeah, but not much. Less than you would think.
Not enough to make it worth your life. Okay. So, okay. As my old pastor used to say back in Texas, a word to the wise should be sufficient. Mm-hmm. I don't like nagging at people. I want people to use good common sense. But it will be, apparently, a lot of people are going to be out there, and the police are going to be out there in big numbers. More on that in just a moment. Hunter Biden's laptop was at first denied, then it was disparaged, and now it's evidence of a crime, writes Miranda Devine over at the New York Post. She has a right to write this story because she's the one who broke it about the laptop. First, it was hacked material. Then it was Russian disinformation. Then it was a Russian plant. Then it was stolen by the Russians. None of that was true. It was hacked by Rudy Giuliani. But now it's the backbone of the prosecution case against Hunter Biden in the felony gun trial he faces in Delaware in just a little bit over a week. June 3rd is when Hunter Biden goes to trial. And they're using the laptop for the evidence that's likely to convict him of this gun charge. Stuff he put in there, stuff of his own making. Weiss plans to use the laptop to help prove that Hunter lied on a federal form when he bought a gun in October of 2018 and claimed he was not using drugs. Hunter has not provided any evidence or information that shows that his laptop contained false information, and the government evidence shows the opposite. Prosecutors have now told the court the laptop is self-authenticating and that Hunter left it at a computer store in April of 2019, and the contents match what they obtained from a search warrant for his iCloud. See, a lot of this stuff is backed up on the iCloud, and so, if you find it on the iCloud, how can you deny it's yours, right? It would have been really easy if they just admitted to everyone that the laptop was real, but of course they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to admit the truth. They lied to you. They lied to you about that in the last election. Oh, that's Russian disinformation, it is. And then, hey, did you believe us? Here's 50 respected names from the intelligence community who've all signed the letter that say it has the classic appearance of Russian disinformation. It wasn't, of course. It was real. And it took a long time for a lot of people to admit that. There's a key ruling that has been made in the Hunter Biden gun case. Ahead of that trial, the judge on Friday handed out rulings on evidence attorneys will be able to use in the Hunter Biden gun trial, including limiting the types of references special counsel David Weiss can make to the first son's past spending habits. Judge Mary Ellen Noriega issued the decision during a hearing in Delaware where Biden appeared with his attorney Abby Lowell and asked the judge to place certain exclusions on the material Weiss could use against him at trial. Noriega, a Donald Trump appointee, granted some of the first son's requests known as motions in limine, but she denied others, according to the Associated Press. In court papers ahead of the hearing, Biden's attorneys asked the judge to prohibit prosecutors from referencing the past extravagant lifestyle, including references to lavish spending or money spent on pornography and strippers. Weiss alleged that Biden spent wildly on these type of expenses in a separate criminal tax case. Noriega largely agreed with Biden and noted he could open himself up to expanding what evidence becomes relevant should he choose to testify in his own defense. Oh, I hope that he does. Oh, would that be great? Yeah, let that happen, would you? You know, he could go to jail for this. And apparently we are told that the president of the United States completely distracted by the legal problems of his son. And he doesn't have a lot of brain power to handle distractions. So it's not a good thing. 31 now past the hour, time for the news. Let me tell you about the folks over at Restoration Wellness and Med Spa over in Lebanon, Wilson County. Let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your summer goals. You know, summer is just around the corner. Call the Restoration Wellness team today at this number. Here it is, 615-470-8124. Or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation. And then listen, when they sit down with you, here's the thing you need to know. They're going to come up with a customized treatment plan. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing. They will look at your unique needs, your lifestyle, and your goals and come up a plan that's just right for you. Now, I've gone through it, and I'm having real results, and Cabana Wife is having real results. And she looks amazing. You wouldn't believe how good she's looking these days. Tell her I said so. But my friends Carly and Jamie will take good care of you, treat you just like you're one of their own, part of the family. Be a part of the 1,000 patients who've already seen life-changing results from the weight loss management program over there. Whether your goal is to lose stubborn body fat or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has a solution for you. Learn about the newest technology in weight loss management. Just go to their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
"38 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Hey, everybody, I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, in for the last 22 minutes of this show before we call it a 3-day weekend. I hope you've got good plans for the weekend, and I hope you have a good time with your family. I hope you also will take a moment to remember why we celebrate Memorial Days, why we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Freedom is not free, and the reason that we are able to go about our lives the way we do is because other people have made that sacrifice. So remember, that's what it's all about. And enjoy your time with family as well, okay? So I think, Chris, I don't know, I got an amalgam of stuff. I got a cornucopia of stuff. I got a lot of bunches of different stories that don't really go together. So you know what we have to do? I think we have to squish on the way out today. There we go. Number one, consumer sentiment drops to lowest in 5 months, and a bad sign for the economy and Biden. And the Washington Examiner. This is not good because it really, honestly, if you believe, as James Carville said, and he said correctly, it's the economy stupid. Many consumers, people like you and me, people are out there just trying to make a living, trying to get by, do not feel good about where we are in the economy. Consumer sentiment fell in May to the lowest level in about 5 months, and expectations for inflation rose. Bad signs for the economy. Bad signs for President Joe Biden. The University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index dropped to 69.1, slightly less of a decline than forecasters had anticipated. That marks a 10.5% drop in sentiment over the past month alone. That's a big number. The last time sentiment was this low, I keep saying cinnamon. Sentiment was this low was in November of 2023. So, again, people are not feeling good about where they are in the economy, and that does not bode well for Joe Biden. Again, there's so many things that are falling in the direction of Trump and away from Biden. I mean, the numbers are looking good, and all of the issues that people care about are still a problem. Immigration is still a problem. The situation with the economy is still a problem, and people hold Biden accountable for those things. Number two, CNN sees the lowest weekly primetime ratings among key demographics since 1991. During the week of May 13th through the 19th, CNN recorded its worst primetime ratings performance among the coveted 25-54 demographic since 1991. To put it in perspective, the last time the network's ratings were that low, George Bush Sr. was the president, and Bryan Adams had just released the album Everything I Do. According to a report from Nielsen cited by the New York Post, between Monday and Sunday, oh my Lord, only 83,000 viewers between the ages of 25 and 54 tuned in to CNN's primetime programming, which runs from 8 p.m. till 11. 83,000 out of a nation that has 300 million people, 330 million people. They can only find 83,000 primetime, what we call prime demographic viewers. Whew, that is bad. The primetime block begins with Anderson Cooper. It's followed by The Source with Caitlin Collins. Abby Phillips caps off the evening with CNN Newsnight. I mean, the only name I really know out of that whole bunch is Anderson Cooper, and that's because he's on 60 Minutes as well. Nielsen's reports show that it wasn't just 25 to 54-year-old who weren't tuning in. Across all demographics, the network recorded just 494,000 viewers. Whew. I'm telling you, that's bad. By comparison, Fox News garnered 2 million total viewers that week, over 4 times that of CNN. MSNBC managed to pull in 1.1. I'll tell you what happened, what I think happened at CNN. You had Fox, which, let's be honest about it, Fox is news with a conservative viewpoint for people who are right of center, for sure. And they find that comfortable, and they like the personalities. Fox News has got great talent. They really do. And they cover the news that you're not going to see anywhere else. CNN couldn't compete with that, so they decided they would go way left. And they went way left for a long time. And it turns out that so did MSNBC. And MSNBC has sort of garnered and cornered that audience of left-leaning voters who want left-leaning news. And that left CNN sort of trying to figure out what it wants to become. And it's tried to reinvent itself so many times. Nobody really likes what they're doing. And where are they? Who are they? What do they stand for? So I think they've been trying to recharacterize themselves as that news organization that will play it up the middle. They don't do a very good job of it because they were slanted for so long. But I have seen some things that indicate they're trying to make a change there, but it's not catching on. People like what they like, and people are, once they find somebody they like getting the news from, they're comfortable with them. It's hard to change their minds. And especially with this old lineup that they have here of nobodies. I mean, Anderson Cooper's been around. We know what he is. And the rest of the folks, quite frankly, are just not that good. So anyway, CNN not doing so well right now. Number 3. This is a local story. Over 1,300 fentanyl pills seized during an execution of search warrant in Laverne. 1,300 fentanyl pills off the street after detectives executed a search warrant at an apartment in Laverne, resulting in 1 arrest. Detectives seized 2 guns. By the way, these guns, this is a high-powered gun. I mean, this looks like a submachine gun to me. I don't know what it's called, but it's looked like a fully automatic to me. Fentanyl pills, nearly $13,000 other various drug paraphernalia, according to investigators. That is, that's enough fentanyl. That we've had a real run of overdoses of late in Nashville. I mean, serious problems. They lost a lot of people in the last few days in downtown, especially among the homeless community. So, and it's because of fentanyl. They revived a bunch of people, and some people survived the overdose, but some did not. And so I'm wondering if they are doing everything they can to crack down on the flow of fentanyl, and they should, of course. This is a good bust by the folks over in Laverne. Good work. Here's the second story on it again. $13,000 in cash, 1,341 fentanyl pills, and some pretty heavy weaponry. The opening of Morgan Wallen's Nashville bar has been delayed.
Oh, hang on. We got a squish.
Oh, we got a squish. Sorry. I completely forgot. I'm sorry. I lost my track there. Opening of Morgan Wallen's Nashville bar has delayed. They said, he held this big concert at Nissan. He said it'll be open by Memorial Day, but apparently not. They say that they need more time. The ground-up construction of a 6-story venue launching with hundreds of team members is a tremendous amount of work and a complex process. The bar's team said, when we open, we want this bar to be an exceptional experience for guests. Unfortunately, the process requires more time. We're not able to open and provide the experience this Memorial Day. Did you say something about, you saw something about they hadn't gotten a beer license yet?
I did see something about that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's part of the problem or not. But they did not, they got the council, the Metro Council looked down their noses at a request for a sign approval. You have to get the sign approved by the council, and the council used this as an opportunity to say, look, we don't endorse people who throw things off of the roofs of bars, and we don't endorse people and support people who have said questionable things of a racial nature. And so I think the council is taking its pound of flesh, and I bet you they're having trouble getting a lot of the I bet you that there's been a slow roll on permits and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, according to Scoop Nashville, the Nashville Beer Board denied both their catering permit and the temporary permit for the bar.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if Morgan Wallen is going to get this bar put together or not. You can't have a bar without a permit to serve liquor.
That's kind of necessary. I think.
Sort of necessary when one is having a bar. You gotta have a liquor license that allows you to sell liquor, and you gotta have a beer permit to sell beer. Not much of a bar without that.
Mm-mm.
You can turn it into like I don't know.
What?
I don't know what would you call it. I mean, it's just a place to get together without liquor. I don't know. I don't think they're going to get a lot of people there without the beer and the liquor. Tennessee. Oh, not our next story. 4. That 1, 2, 3. How many stories are we in? 4?
This is 5.
5. Okay. Tennessee Attorney General Skermetti launches a probe into attempted foreclosure of Elvis Presley's iconic Graceland home. Somebody tried to foreclose on Graceland, and it's sort of weird. Nobody really knows who it is that's trying to foreclose and who's trying to buy. It got put on hold. Graceland became the target of an Investments in Private Lending LLC after the company claimed the singer's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, who died in 2023, did not repay a loan that used the home as collateral. An auction for the iconic home was planned for this week. However, Shelby County Chancellor Joe Day Jenkins issued a temporary injunction and blocked the auction. And so now Skermetti's trying to find out a little bit more about that, to find out if there's any misconduct in the whole process. Got to protect the Graceland. Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to Graceland. Number 6. It will be the law soon. Tennessee's will crack down on those who are drag racing. Convicted drag racers in Tennessee will soon see stiffer penalties. Governor Bill Lee signed a law that changes the penalty for drag racing for a Class A misdemeanor to a Class E felony. This, according to Fox 17, it means convicted racers could face up to 6 years in prison and a $3,000 fine. Reckless driving still remains a misdemeanor charge, however. We've got a problem with these people who are doing that kind of stuff. We need to make sure that we crack down on those folks. And at that, we'll call it a wrap at 6:50 on Super Talk 99.7. Busy bee, when you need heat or cold AC, you know the number, 615-775-7833. I want to talk really right now about the Beehive Club. You really need to become a member of the Beehive Club because it's preventative maintenance. Your dad always told you got to keep working on things, you got to check up on them, or you're going to have to pay a lot more money as you go down the path. And that's what happens with your HVAC and your plumbing systems. But if you're a member of the Beehive Club, starts at $99 a year, you'll receive the following. 3 annual tune-ups, one aimed at heating, one aimed at cooling, one aimed at plumbing, 10% discount on repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000 you can add to your account over time, no overtime or holiday fees, and you'll have access to exclusive Beehive member promotions. That's right, and if you have a big heating or cooling project, guess what? With approved credit, no interest if paid in full within 15 months. That's helpful, isn't it? Because these things can be big, expensive projects, and you can really get a break if you don't have to pay any interest over 15 months. Plumbing, 0% interest for 18 months, and again, that's with approved credit. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Cooling is your official Rude Pro partner for satisfaction guarantee. Call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Cooling at 615-775-7833 online at busybeehvac.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.